Good morning, everybody. Chris is here. Dan, the boss, is here with me this morning. This is the Metalheads Unite podcast. Want to welcome everybody in. My co-host and cohort Jason will be here momentarily. He's dealing with a very, very poorly timed computer update, so he did get in contact with me. He is on his way. He will be here shortly, but
Dan, you were live on the radio.
Yeah. So we are live all over the place. And he's speaking of the devil.
Yep. Oh, good. Yep. So when he comes on the screen, then I'll play the intro.
All right. Well, he looks like he's getting ready. All right.
He's getting pumped up.
Yeah. He's playing with himself.
Yeah.
He's playing with himself. He's putting his dick away. So let's see. Let's get him added to the stream here. Right, there he is.
Woo! All right, I'm gonna shut up and play the intros. So everybody act like you're hearing it for the first time.
Engage and rage. This is Voice of the People, USA Radio.
What's up?
I still never get tired of listening to that intro. I fucking love it.
I know it's great. I missed it.
You always look like you're having so much fun. It's like I don't want to turn it off. You know, I'm like, damn. And it gets better as the song plays out. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Yeah. Enjoy your show.
Metalheads Unite presents intro music for 2.5 hours.
Hey.
Yeah.
So are we done with radio.co, or do you know what's up with that?
We are on live on the radio.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. I went to check and it wouldn't let me connect, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, well, I made sure that, because I wasn't exactly sure when you were going to be done. So he and I were like, all right, let's get it together. He's like, you go ahead and start that. I'll get StreamYard started. So we went ahead and just got everything taken care of. So
opened my laptop, and then it was like, oh, you're 30% done with your update. I'm like, what fucking update? Like, thanks for the warning. But I thought I'd set all that stuff for like, so I may have it. Maybe it didn't take because I had the actual screen closed. So I do have it set for like 2 or 3 in the morning. So, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But anyway, we are here. So
yes, we are.
And actually, I have to. I'm so unprepared today. Give me just a second.
Oh. He's sporting the new Exodus shirt. Very, very nice. The Exodus shirt that we got when we went down to Chattanooga to see the Bass Strikes Back tour, which we already recapped here on the show. But man, that was such a good show, and we're looking forward. Excuse me. We're looking forward to them coming to Nashville in September. So we're looking forward to that too, because you got 3 bands of that high caliber for $30. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can talk about bang for your buck right there, man. Those 3 bands for $30.
Apologize. I had one little thing throws you off. It's funny.
Yeah, it does. It can.
So I
absolutely
had my stuff sitting on the printer and left it there. So, all right. Anyway, welcome everyone to another Saturday morning. Saturday morning here
Yep.
Saturday afternoon wherever you are, or Sunday. I don't know.
Another Saturday on this blue and green ball.
Yeah, it's another episode of Metalheads Unite, regardless. So
Yes, it is.
welcome, everyone.
Welcome to everybody.
Oh man, get my stuff, man. I was like really like disoriented now, so everything all fucked up. Cool.
Yeah, I actually for the first time in quite a few weeks, I actually had everything done last night, and then all I had to do this morning was come into the office, take a quick sit down and look and make sure that there was nothing I missed overnight while I was asleep, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm ready to roll.
I was done. I went to print out my stuff last night, and then I realized I didn't have any more printer paper, so I had to make a run.
No.
I had to make a run to Walgreens at 11:30. So,
Yeah, that's the only place open after 10 anymore.
well, yeah. I mean, even Walmart's even closed now. So
I know it's weird. It's weird not being able to go to a grocery store like whenever you want now. It's fucking weird.
but it's funny though that it almost goes back to the times when we grew up, because everything was closed like that when we grew up.
Right.
You know, the people that are kind of like having to deal with it are the generation after ours that aren't used to all that. So, like, what do you mean it's not 24 hours?
Right. I know. But yep. Good old Walgreens comes through though.
That's right. Yeah. If not, I'd have had to go bum some off Waffle House, I guess. But
Right.
Let me get a waffle and some printer paper, please.
Yeah. I only need half a ream. Half a ream is fine.
Yeah. I only need like 10 sheets. Can you spare 10 sheets? Which I don't know. Like I thought I fixed all this stuff to where the font I could actually read, but it's still showing up like printing small. Like it shows up on my screen like it's supposed to, but it's still printing small for some reason. So I still got to mess with some settings. I started using QuickNote instead because it automatically saves, so I don't have to worry about losing anything. So, so it's QuickNote's a little different. I use it at work all the time too. So it's
okay.
I got you. It's a little bit of it's good in some ways, and in some ways it can be a pain. So, especially when printing, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, all right. Guess we can jump into this thing here. Not a whole lot of birthdays this week, so I can push through that real quick.
That's good.
I do want to put out there that we are in contact with a couple of bands to maybe get on here to talk with. One, I don't want to like say anything really, but one may be next week. It's nothing concrete yet, but
Fingers crossed.
yeah. So far it's looking like it's going to be next week, but we shall see. So if you want to know who that is, you will have to be on our Facebook page, obviously, or come back next week, which you're probably going to anyway. So
yeah, of course you are. Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, we know you are. Yeah.
So yeah, where else are you going to get the news without going through all of the bullshit yourself? So,
That's right.
Anyway, kick it off here for the birthdays this week, May 8th through the 14th. May 8th, Alex Van Halen, drummer for, of course, Van Halen. Eric Brittingham, bassist for Cinderella. And Chris Lighty, who was a music executive and manager for Violator. He actually passed away in 2012. May 9th, we had Andrew W.K., singer, musician, songwriter. I don't know what else he does. He does about near everything, I guess, but partier, fighter.
Right.
May 10th, we had Danny Carey, a drummer for Tool. May 11th, Christoph Schneider, drummer for Rammstein. Pertu Kivalakso, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but those Finnish people. A cellist for Apocalyptica. May 12th, Eric Singer, drummer for Kiss. We have Billy Duffy, guitarist for The Cult. And Billy Squire, vocalist and guitarist for his own band. May 13th, we had Chuck Schuldiner, singer, songwriter, and guitarist for Death and Control Denied. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2001. We also have Buckethead, a guitarist for Guns N' Roses and Praxis. May 14th, we had CC DeVille, guitarist for Poison, Ian Asbury, singer and songwriter for The Cult, Mike Inez, bassist for Alice in Chains, and Eric Peterson, guitarist for Testament. So that will be our birthdays this week. Happy birthday to those. And if I forgot anybody, I apologize, and happy birthday to you. And if anybody out there, of course, has a birthday today, this week or today, happy birthday to you as well. So, real short week for the birthday. So, and just so we before we get into it, I'll let you know that I found no info for notable moments in history. So,
wow, okay,
very quiet week. I mean, there was stuff out there, but it was kind of yeah.
So basically, the metal world just decided to just take a week off.
Yeah, everybody must have been doing downtime making albums. I don't know. But,
yeah, they must have been. Yeah, well, they had to have been. No one was out. No one was out like crashing cars or burning shit down. Or, good Lord. I mean, that's good. No one died. So I mean,
yeah. See, the site that I get stuff from, I don't know if they're updating or what they're doing, but like I never could get on it yesterday at all. So
could be.
So I mean, there may be some stuff on there that, and if so, I'll go through it next week. So, but yeah, I went to a couple other sites that I don't normally use, and there really wasn't nothing that kind of jumped out and said, "Hey, this is crazy." So,
well, I mean that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
it happens.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Or as a wrestler, Iceman King Parsons once said, "Mama says it beats that way sometimes." So,
it does. It absolutely does. All right. So yeah, we'll go ahead and kick over to the current events for the week. And if
bad news on out the way, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's anybody who really hasn't heard by now, but the obvious lead story this week is over at Metal Injection. Of course, everybody had it, but the first place, for good reason. But the first place I saw it over at metalinjection.net. The Black Dahlia Murder vocalist Trevor Sternad, an all-around loved figure in metal, has died. The band has posted the following statement alongside the 1-800 number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. We wish Sternad's friends and family all the best at this time. Words cannot express what he's done for metal over the years, and we will all miss him dearly. The quote from the band, quote, "It is with deep sadness that we announce the passing of Trevor Scott Sternad, beloved son, brother, and shepherd of good times. He was loved by all that met him. A walking encyclopedia of all things music. He was a hugger, a writer, and truly one of the world's greatest entertainers. His lyrics provided the world with stories and spells and horror and whimsy. It was his life to be your show," end quote. So a quick story, quick and to the point. Not exactly sure what happened. Of course, them having the suicide prevention hotline number kind of gives us a general idea of what happened.
Yeah, but, unfortunately, but
yeah, so this is probably. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna say this is probably going to be one of those stories that kind of develops over the next week, maybe two, to see what happened and stuff like that. There'd probably be some toxicology results and stuff like that. So, but
not to steer away from the metal community either, but
right.
We just had a country music artist. We hear a lot about that here because we're local to Nashville, but
right.
We had a country music artist, Naomi Judd, just went through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in her 70s. So I mean, it's
76.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy for somebody to be that old to want to take their own life. I mean, I guess if you're ill enough to where you're just tired of having to deal with doctors and stuff like that. I mean, that's the only thing I can think about. I don't know the whole story with that one.
Right.
But anyways, like no matter your age, is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. No matter your age or genre of music or lifestyle or any of that stuff matters. If we all go through our trials and tribulations. So,
mm-hmm.
If you're out there and you got some even thoughts of suicide, and please reach out to somebody.
Absolutely.
We want you to stick around as long as you're supposed to. So,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
man, so
Yeah.
anyway,
And that's the funny thing is like, with what happened this week with, Black Dahlia murder. And like you say, you even referenced Naomi Judd, but we've reported on over the past, few weeks, couple months or so, where we've had, band members leave
right,
because they were wanting to take a step back and focus on their own mental health and well-being. So, I mean, but some of these people have been able to kind of like recognize it and kind of catch it before it's too late, and it catches up
right,
with them. But yeah, if fortunately there is help out there, and unfortunately, Naomi Judd, I guess, and then even Trevor Sternad, didn't quite make it in time, and it's super duper unfortunate. When it happens to anybody, I mean, whether you're in the public eye like these guys were, or just people in their everyday lives, so
and he was what 41, right? Is that what it said?
41. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that's it's crazy because I know we've talked about this before, but like it kind of hits home when you get into that age because we're kind of in that age group
Hmm. Yeah.
in our 40s. So it's kind of like wow, man. So I can imagine somebody in our age group taking their own life like that. But
Yeah.
like I said, it happens no matter the age group or anything. But I'm
Oh,
just
it
saying
does.
it kind of hits a lot like home when you're kind of in that category. So
Yeah.
not necessarily depression wise, but I mean we all have our depressive moments. Don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
just how we deal with it's the thing that we have to talk about. So make sure you guys are dealing with it the way it needs to be dealt with, and not result into some ways that hurt yourself. So
Right.
um, we're so it's like another thing. It's like we're I've seen the metal community come together. Just not even like on a main. I've seen it locally where they would come together for people with cancer or a lot of benefit stuff goes on. I don't know. I know you've probably seen it around here in the area too. Um, where in Nashville and even Franklin, I've seen some stuff in Franklin where they'd have a metal show and at the what's it that place, the Pond, I think is what it's called there. Um, but I've seen a couple of shows there where they do some stuff for
Hmm.
benefits for people with issues like that. So I mean, the medical community is pretty tight, pretty strong. So
Yep.
there's no reason why you can't reach out to somebody that. And two, I think a lot of it's a surprise to a lot of fans because we don't. A lot of times, as a fan, we don't think about these guys, being normal. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, you think about these guys being, they're just big rock stars. They're living this glamorous life. I mean, a lot
Hmm.
of times, that's what I try to tell you. A lot of times, the glamorous life that you see isn't what they're living. So,
Right.
so always take that into consideration as
Yep.
well. So, I mean, I guess like a prime example would be, since I had been in wrestling, was I've seen a lot of wrestlers over the years kind of shun fans or whatever because they're having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be they don't want to be like harassed or talked to by fans because they got a lot of stuff going on mentally,
Right.
um, and it's not necessarily and I hate that the fans take it out on them because they don't understand that okay these guys have got something going on that they they have to deal with on their own and the fans like harassing them kind of makes it agitates them more so yes I kind of get it but you know it's definitely a thin line to walk there. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. They
any,
they're
any,
they're hu- they're human just like us.
right. That's why I say I think a lot of times people forget that when you see
Right.
it's just like you always see. I just had a friend of mine that talked about his daddy passed away, and his daddy was Superman to him. You know what I mean? So you couldn't, and a lot of times even situations like that, kind of hit home because you think about I know some people that are you think are invincible that are not. So
Right.
none of us are invincible, unfortunately. So
Nope.
uh, anyway, we'll try to shine some good news sprinkle some good news on the podcast here. So, but
Yeah.
prayers go out to Trevor and
Absolutely.
his Trevor's family and friends. So, bandmates. I know that a lot of times people don't realize you travel with somebody for 10, 15, 20 years. It's kind of they're brothers at that point.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got some bad news, but it's not the death kind. So this one is over from Metal Sucks. Bad news for Black Label Society fans. The band were forced to postpone the show in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the show in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was this past week. Frontman Zach Wild has apparently lost his voice. These shows are part of their current track with Nita Strauss and Jared James Nichols. Black Label Society released the following statement regarding the Raleigh gig. It was with great regret that Zach Wild has lost his voice and is unable to perform tonight's show in Raleigh, North Carolina. We are rescheduling this show for Tuesday, August 30th. Hold on to your tickets. Black Label Society will do this show for you on Tuesday, August 30th at the Ritz in Raleigh, North Carolina. Meanwhile, the Signal in Chattanooga posted the following message. It's with great regret that Zach Wild has lost his voice and is unable to perform our show in Chattanooga. Chattanooga. Oh, my God. Chattanooga tomorrow, May 11th. Good news, the show has already been rescheduled to August 31st. Hold on to your tickets, and we'll see you in August. Obviously, this is a massive bummer, but what can you do? Can't have the band go up and not have Zach sing. Then again, maybe Nichols could have subbed in. Anyway, long story short, we wish Zach a speedy recovery. Good news on that, though, is they got it rescheduled pretty quick. So.
And when they reached out to Zach Wild for comment, his response was,
Yep.
Poor Zach. But at the same time, you may have inadvertently given the city of Chattanooga a new ad campaign.
Yeah, that's true. Voice of the voiceless.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about your little. I'm talking about your.
Oh yeah, Chattanooga.
Yeah. It's a new ad campaign for the Bureau of Tourism.
It's not Chattanooga. It's Chattanooga. Oh wow.
But yeah, it is cool that they've already rescheduled.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when I read that. I'm like, wow, that's a quick turnaround to be rescheduled.
It actually really is.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty impressive on their part. But
yeah.
I was very, I don't know about you, but I was pretty impressed with that venue when we were there. So,
it's a nice place. I was surprised. It was a nice place. Yeah, I'd actually go see it. I'd go see a show there again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's not a bad drive either from here. It's not a bad drive.
No, not at all.
All right, so I'm going to go over to Blabbermouth for a few. Going to start with Amin Ra, aka Amin. Where the hell did the story go? Oh, there it is. Sorry. You know when you go to a website and you pull up a story or whatever it is that you're looking at, and then you start like reading, and all of a sudden like all of the ads start loading, and then like all the content on the screen either goes up or down, or it's so fucking annoying. So that's what happened. I started reading, and the story just disappeared. So
honestly, that's one of the reasons why I print mine. But
yeah,
because I don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah, I need to start doing that.
Yeah, because I was doing the same thing you were at first. So.
Yeah. Amin Ra, aka Amin, the founding guitarist of the Finnish monster group Lordi, has announced his departure from the band. Earlier today being May 6th, so this was a leftover story from after last week's show. Earlier today, the 49-year-old musician, whose real name is Jussi Seidenmaa, again, there's those Finnish people, issued the following statement via social media, quote, "This is the end. My beloved friends, fans, and supporters, my heart has never been as heavy as it is today. Never. Today is the day that I have to tell you that my guitar has become silent in Lordi. I never thought I'd write these lines, but life happens and people change. Half of my lifetime I gave all for my dream to be a rock and roll star. From a tiny village in Finland, I got to travel the world and play for you. I made my dream come true, and it wouldn't have been possible without the support from all you amazing and crazy people. We shared so many amazing memories, all those live shows, your smiling faces in the crowd, hands on my shoulders, the gifts you gave me, the stories you told me. I will cherish those forever, and I can't thank you enough for all that you've been giving me. All the love, the support, all of it. Thank you. A journey like this is only possible when you have hardworking people around you. A thanks to list would be massive, but everyone who worked with me and with the band deserves my endless gratitude. From record labels to booking agencies, from managers to accounting firms, from bus drivers to catering people. Special thanks to our crew. You amaze me every day with your hardworking attitude. And extra special thanks to all the guitar techs I worked with. Long days, sometimes in very demanding and challenging working conditions. I salute you. Very special thanks to all my cooperation partners during these 25 years. Latest Schecter guitars, Ovation guitars, In-Tune guitar picks, and SIT guitar strings. I've been blessed to have had a chance to work with so many great people. Thank you all. Last but not least, thanks to all the past and present Lordy band members. Playing together with you was the best. Let's smile when we meet. Cheers. I don't know what the future will bring. All I can tell you is that right now I'm relieved but sad. I'm grateful but unsure where my path will take me. A big chapter of my life has come to an end, but a new one is starting, and I can't wait to see what life has to offer for me. Let's celebrate what we had together. Let's celebrate Amun-Ra, who's in. So be it, it shall be done. End quote. Back in November 2019, Amun-Ra released his first solo single, made available under the moniker Amun-Ra's Dynasty. At the time, he explained that he decided to lengthen his stage name from just Amun to Amun-Ra because there's so many artists operating under the name Amun. I didn't see it as a practical move on my part. So there you have it. So another founding member of a band has decided to move on. So there we go.
It's a departure is the I guess that's going to be the ongoing thing for 2022. Man.
Yeah, kind of seems like it.
Seems like we're doing a story about that almost every week as well.
Mm-hmm. And spoiler alert, I've got one more. So
this is a real quick one from over at Metal Sucks. A few days ago, it was announced that an unauthorized play about hair metalers Motley Crue titled "The Crew: Underneath the Dirt Lies the Truth" from actor-director David Lucarelli would premiere at the Hollywood Fringe Festival on June 4th. Now the band's own Nikki Sixx has taken to social media and made it very clear that he and the other members of Motley Crue had nothing to do with it. Nikki posted the following statement on his social media. Fans of Motley Crue have asked about a new play by David Zuccarelli's called the Crew: Underneath the Dirt Lies the Truth. I was disappointed to see an advertisement using my image and our band's trademark, The Crew, to promote this play. The advertising is misleading because it suggests that I and other members of the band are somehow involved with the play. We have never been approached about the play, and Motley Crue has no connection or affiliation with this play whatsoever. So there you go this play. There you go. This play, which Blabbermouth describes as a dark, humorous drama, is totally unauthorized. Tickets are still available should you want to see it before Motley Crue gets it shut down. So if you want to go to the Crew, you can just look the Crew Underneath the Dirt and Lies for tickets. Yeah, that's kind of a wild. I guess they better be glad it was Motley Crue, not Metallica. So
right. Well, I guarantee you that.
Lars will be over there beating them with drumsticks, but yeah, that's kind of a strange story there. I thought it was.
It is weird.
I mean, I guess it's okay to promote, something you want to do, but don't use the bands and put their pictures and stuff on it like they gave you advice, I guess. But
yeah, I did see. Well, I saw this story in multiple places, but I remember I did see the actual poster for it, and it's a blurred and like pixelated picture of Nikki Sixx, but I mean you can tell who it is.
Right.
So I mean I get why he'd be a little annoyed by that. It's like, dude, who gave you permission to use my face for this?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I kind of get it.
Well, I mean, you're probably using it to sell tickets. So I mean,
exactly, that's exactly why they did it.
But I mean, if they didn't have anything to, my thing is if you're a Motley Crue fan, you're probably going to go watch it anyway. So
probably.
So what's the
But it would be, yeah, it would be interesting to see what the play has in it that the dirt didn't, because I know you and I both we've seen the movie, and
a couple times actually.
yes, I mean we've both seen the movie, so you and I both know that the movie isn't 100% truthful,
Right.
which is weird because all 4 of the guys in Motley Crue were consultants on the movie. So it's odd that the movie has shit in it that was approved by them that didn't really happen.
Right.
So that's weird to me. So it would be interesting to see what the play has in it that the movie doesn't, and how truthful to the timeline, the real world timeline will actually be compared to the movie. It would be interesting, having seen the movie, to see the play, to see which one is actually more true to life. That would be the interesting part.
What would be even more funny is that the play was more truthful to the timeline than the movie.
And see, that's the funny thing. I wonder if that would actually happen, and I wonder if that might be. I mean, I guess the potential for that occurrence could be part of the reason why the Motley Crue would be a little upset about it. Well, that and the fact that they had nothing to do with it and probably won't be able to monetize off of it and all that other shit.
Well, true, yeah.
Probably a multitude of reasons why they're like, oh, we don't really care for this. So then they're trying to distance themselves.
I can't get my cut. I don't want it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. All right. So I'm going to. This is my spoiler alert one. I'm going to go over to the PRP for a little bit and kind of keeping with the same theme. Steve Brooks, co-founding vocalist and guitarist of Torch, has announced his upcoming departure from the group. According to Brooks himself, this fall's U.S. tour with Meshuggah, Converge, and In Flames will be his last fronting the group. Speaking on the matter via Instagram on May 12th, Brooks offered, quote, "We're a few months away from the last tour I'm doing with Torch. I've been so very lucky and went far beyond what I imagined. I just don't have it in me to keep this going, living on opposite sides of the country. Much love to my band members and everyone that supported us these 18 years. See y'all this September, October," with a horn and a heart, end quote. So one of those situations. Yeah. One of the, What's that?
A horny heart.
Yeah. Well, haven't seen that emoji, but So, and I do remember us talking about this tour and relaying the dates for it on the Hitting the Road segment, on a previous episode. So we won't go back over those, but the tour does start in September and end in October. So, if you want to get a chance to see that tour, and if you're a fan of Torch and you want to see Steve Brooks one more time before he heads to the house, then this is going to be your last chance. So, but just like he said in the story, he just apparently he had like a moment of clarity with himself. It's like, you know what, I can't really just do this anymore, bouncing all over the country, and he's going to just move on. Sometimes it happens.
That kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show was,
right.
We don't know what these guys go through. I mean, it's got to be hard to be on the road for a long period of time and not be able to see your family at all.
Right.
So, I mean, if you got, I think the thing that I always thought about wrestling was, my kids are little. So, man, if I get this contract and I'm gone 300 days a year, man, what the hell? I'm going to miss like half their fucking, all the big shit, like they walk, they potty, go potty, those kind of things you miss, and you can't get that back. So,
right.
Once you miss stuff like that, it's gone. So,
yeah.
So I mean that would be my biggest thing about the being on the road as your kids are young and stuff like that. But I think that's why I admire like Eyes of the Living so much, is when we talked to them, they were talking about how they stopped to take care of their family, and then now they're back into music since your kids are older and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool that you're able to do that and not have that not have all those misses anymore. So now you just have to be there for weddings and stuff. So that's
no shit, right?
That's pretty simple, That's kind of stuff that's planned,
Yeah.
The kid just takes off walking and you're not there. You're like, what the fuck, But cool stuff. But
All right, so real quick, what playlist was this that you put in the chat?
So that's the weekly one. I actually didn't even
Okay,
get
there you go.
I actually haven't even posted it on the freaking Facebook page yet, which is
Okay.
crazy. I don't know why I didn't. I was looking through there earlier, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even post that on there, and it's been done for 2 days. So it's crazy, crazy, crazy.
All right, so
We had a
yeah,
lot. We had a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff. So I kind of been thrown off all week with
oh yeah, man, that happens.
everything going on. So, which we have to
like
plan. We have to plan everything on our short weeks of work because I work 4
Right.
days 1 week, 3 days 1 week. So the 3 day week we usually plan out all of our doctor's appointments, like chiropractors and stuff like that. So nothing
Well,
major,
that-
just the relaxation type doctor's appointments. Which she
Yeah.
had a dentist appointment, which we don't ever like. Nobody likes to go to the dentist, but
nah, necessary evil for sure.
exactly.
So yeah, I'll leave that link up there on the screen for a little bit.
Yeah,
in
that's
case
kind of
anybody
why
wants
I pushed it up there early. So
yeah, it's good.
all right, this one is over from Blabbermouth. Randy Rhoads, Reflections of a Guitar Icon, a new documentary about legendary guitarist Randy Rhoads, best known for his work with Ozzy Osbourne, has just been made available on video on demand. The 85-minute film was directed by Andre Relis and was narrated by LA Guns guitarist Tracy Guns. It was written and edited by Michael Bruning. Randy Rhoads' Reflections of a Guitar Icon includes interviews with Randy's mother, Dolores Rhoads, brother Kelly Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, Rudy Sarzo from Quiet Riot, Frankie Banali from Quiet Riot, Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake, Bruce Kulick from Kiss, Doug Aldrich from Whitesnake and Dio, Gary Moore, Dweezil Zappa, George Lynch from Dokken, and Ozzy Osbourne. During an appearance on this past Tuesday's May 10th episode on SiriusXM's Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, Relis stated that the Rhoads family was not involved in the making of the film. I do believe the family is very protective of it, he said, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net. They had ideas early on about what they wanted. I wasn't around when these earlier documentaries were in production. I wasn't around in the sense that I wasn't involved with them. I had nothing to do with the earlier ones, he continued, referencing Randy Rhoads' The Quiet Riot Years, the 2012 documentary from Quiet Riot's personal photographer, lighting director Ron Sobel, and another documentary from director Peter Margolis and Dakota Films, which was reportedly started in 2007 and completed a decade ago but never made available. And it appears that there was difficulties from the Osbourne side too to license music, and beyond that, I really don't know, man. It's a weird one, and that's actually what really intrigued me because my specialty as a producer is to get stuff out that a lot of people have a hard time getting out, whether it be a feature film or documentary or whatever it may be. There's been quite a few projects that I've owned in on and got stuff done that a lot of people before me couldn't. Although Relis was able to license pieces of the Sobel doc, he was unable to secure the rights to much footage of Rhoads with Osbourne or any of the music the pair made together. Sharon and Ozzy weren't going to give it to me, man, he said. And they made that very clear to me once they found out I was doing this documentary. That was the challenging part. I had to go in this on my own without their support. I tried to get their support, but they weren't having it. So, yeah, little pieces of when he joined Ozzy was very difficult to get. From my research, the Osbournes own all, if not 99%, of the live footage from that era, Relis explained. So I had to find a gentleman, and it took me many months to control even some real basic footage of Ozzy and Randy on stage. Relis went on to say that he got some really interesting communication from Sharon. Not the best, friendliest stuff was coming from that side of things, he revealed. I won't go into detail on that, but I can say that I find it very mysterious. There was another documentary in the works, a bigger budget Dakota Films documentary in 2008, 2009. They did everything and they were close to getting it released, he continued. And from what I understand, I can't say this because I wasn't there, but the Osbournes won't license any music. And from the perspective of the Rhoads family, it seemed to me like they weren't going to get on board with anything unless the Ozzy music and the stuff with Ozzy was in that documentary. And if it's impossible to license, then you're kind of in a conundrum. It was very bizarre, Andre said, and the reason as to why they didn't want a documentary out in 2008 and they don't want a documentary out now, I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm not going to let it stop getting a documentary on Randy Rhoads out there. 40 years after, there's no other documentaries out there on his life, and it needed to be done and out there for the public to really put the respect into the man's legacy. Asked if the interviews with the Rhodes family members in reflection of a guitar icon is new footage, Andre said, "No, that was not new footage. I tried to get their cooperation, and I don't need to get into the details of it all, but I'm hoping now that it's out there that they realize that this is a real tribute to Randy Rhodes, and it's a piece to show his legacy." But for whatever reason, I think partially because of what was going on the Osborne side, they wouldn't they couldn't get on board. So Rellis admitted that he has received some blowback from some of the diehard Randy Rhodes fans about the fact that the family wasn't involved in the film. "I tried to get them involved," he said. "I did everything I could, offered them participation, everything to get them involved, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to be a part of it, and I don't know why. It's a big mystery to me, but I'll ask those fans out there, would you rather have nothing or a documentary that really showcases the guy's legacy?" So very interesting.
That is weird.
Yeah, he got to put out. Nobody wanted to be on board with it. It's kind of puzzling. I mean, if it's really so to me, it sounds like they didn't even like read into like anything that he was doing or didn't even want to. Because I mean, if it's really a piece about showing his legacy and stuff, I would think that they would be all over it.
Yeah. Especially since, like the guy said, there's no other documentary out there about his life. So I mean, if there's anybody who deserves that kind of tribute, I mean, you figured his name would have to be up there high on the list.
Oh, most definitely. You think about Cliff Burton, Randy Rhodes, any a couple of guys in that era that we know for sure that we would watch something like that of them. So
yeah. So I mean, and the whole thing about him reaching out to the Osborne side and Sharon kind of being a twat about it, that really doesn't surprise me that much.
That's true. Yeah.
Of course, if dude would have been able to get a hold of Ozzy directly, I guarantee you Ozzy would have been all for it.
Oh yeah.
Anything that came from the Osborne side, I guarantee you it was fucking Sharon. Ozzy loved Randy so much, he would have been like, abso-fucking-lutely. Are you kidding me? He would have been all for it. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I just think it's at this point it's probably too little, too late to try to get those people. If you'd have did it 20 years ago, you probably had a better chance of getting it done.
Well, I mean, hell, he tried in 2008.
Well, no, it wasn't him. That was another budgeted film that.
Still somebody tried in 2008. Yeah,
and
somebody.
It never got released. So I think I read something about there was some lawsuit issues with that one. So that's probably why it never made it.
Surprise.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it contained. I can't remember exactly what the whole story was, but I did read a piece on it. So, so like I said, the new stories are out there if you want to check those out. But yeah. So far we're going to get one, but it's not going to have any official documentation from the family or the Osbornes. So,
which is a shame.
Yeah. So.
All right. So I'm coming back over to Blabbermouth. This one was interesting and will be a hell of a story to tell going forward for this couple. A woman gave birth during Metallica's concert Saturday, May 7th in Curitiba, Brazil. Tattoo artist Joyce M. Figueiro was 39 weeks pregnant when she attended the show at Estadio Couto Pereira, which was part of Metallica's 6-date tour of South America. Joyce, who was seated in the accessible/disabled section of the stadium, felt well during support acts Ego Kill Talent and Greta Van Fleet's performances, but started having contractions when Metallica took the stage. Figueiro's water broke on the way to the event's outpatient clinic, and there was no time to take her to the maternity hospital. Luan Figueiro came into the world on May 7th, 2022 at 11:15, shaking all the metal structures, she wrote on Instagram. According to the tattoo artist, the band played the final song of its set, Enter Sandman, at the moment of birth. Quote, "At every show I go to, something has to happen, but this time I think I've outdone myself," she commented on the social media platform. Figueiro added that she was physically fine, but still trying to process what had just occurred. "I bought this ticket 3 years ago, and I never imagined something like this would happen," end quote. So well, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of an understatement, but I mean, 39 weeks pregnant, I mean,
right.
I guess that probably should
You
have been.
kind
In
of
the,
taking your chances there. So,
yeah, that should have been in the back of her mind somewhere, but you know.
you would think.
So,
You would think.
but yeah, I mean, at least the baby came out to a cool song, and like I say, that's going to be a hell of a story.
Yeah, for them to tell when they're older too. So
Right.
imagine that. They'll be using that as a teenager to get chicks. I'm sure. So
Yeah. Like I would, wouldn't you?
yeah, well, yeah. Side the point.
Of course, hopefully this kid doesn't do what that dumbass did with Nirvana and try to sue Metallica like 30 years later for some bullshit.
Right.
Of course, I don't know what he would sue for, but I'm just talking about frivolous lawsuits. That's what I'm basically talking about.
Yeah. All right. This one is over from Metal Hammer. Rock or bust. In our latest deep dive into the world of fan-crafted music-related items, we've busted things wide open with a cracking collection of small wall-mounted statues featuring some of rock's most famous stars. Created by Out of Hand Studio, our eyes were first drawn to a bust of Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose. It's 6 inches in height, so it's accurate height, and was
Well, wait, is it skinny Axel or fat Axel?
Well, that's true. I mean, I don't know. It made it like a Buddha axle. I don't know.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
It's 6 inches in height and was sculpted in wax before a mold was created in silicone rubber. It was then given the cold cast pewter effect resin treatment to create the finished article. But while we really loved what Out of Hand Studio did with Axl, there's far more to discover on the studio's Etsy page, including Axl's bandmate Slash, his former live partner in crime Angus Young, a splendid recreation of Motorhead legend Lemmy, and several brilliant David Bowie busts. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. All are on sale for €20 and shipped from the UK with other wee treasures, including some of the Lord of the Rings inspired items to be discovered on their website. All have been cast and finished by hand, making these a true labor of love. So, rock fans, Axl Rose fans, or Lemmy fans, or collectors in general, go out there and get you a bust of.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go over to Loudwire real quick since that one's kind of short. I'll put 2 in here. So
All right.
this over Loudwire. Skillet this week earned 3 new platinum and gold sales certifications from the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA, as we know. 2 of the awards updated previously certified Skillet songs, giving the John Cooper-led Christian rock band another multi-platinum record and another singularly platinum one. The newly platinum Skillet singles are Awake and Alive, freshly certified double platinum on Tuesday, May 10th, for achieving 2 million sales in the United States. The 2010 cut from the prior year's Awake, Skillet's 7th studio album, was certified platinum, 1 million in sales in 2015, and gold, 500,000 sales in 2011. The next one is Comatose, the title track from Skillet's 2006 effort, the group's 5th album. It was certified platinum on Tuesday for the first time after it first hit gold in 2017. And the third and final RIAA certification that Skillet achieved this week was for The Last Night, another Comatose single. It got a gold record for the first time on Tuesday, May 10th. The band just keeps racking up sales awards. Only 6 months ago, 2 other Skillet singles reached quadruple platinum, Monster and the triple platinum Hero status, respectively. So congratulations to Skillet. They just keep on racking up stuff, man. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good for them. All right. Staying over at blabbermouth.net. Dee Snider's new horror movie, which he is both writing and directing, will start pre-production in June. The Twisted Sister frontman, who previously wrote and starred in the cult 1998 horror movie Strangeland, offered a timeline for his new project in a tweet earlier today being May 9th. Let's see. He wrote, quote, "Want to talk about a major distraction? My next scary movie I wrote and I'm directing is greenlit and starts pre-production in 4 weeks. In between, I've got 3-week pre-planned vacation 2 years ago before COVID, canceled twice. When I get home, I leave the next day. Yes, and yikes," end quote. Less than 2 years ago, Snyder revealed that he was planning to direct a horror movie from a script he wrote titled My Enemy's Enemy. The film is based on a real-life crime spree that took place in his native Long Island, New York in 1982. Quote, I had my movie that was supposed to go into production, and there are certain business aspects of that even now are still slowly moving forward because there are certain things that you can still put in place, he told Pop Matters at the time. You can still slowly work through production elements and everything. I've also been asked to write a reimagining of another classic 80s horror film that I can't mention by name. I was working on the treatment for that. That's been greenlit, so they're putting together deals with that, and I'll start writing the screenplay, end quote. Snyder went on to say that there are some powerful people in the film industry who think he's the next Rob Zombie, quote unquote, the rock star turned horror director, writer, creator. That's why they're funding me for these 2 movies, and their plan is to turn me into that, he said. I am ready to be turned into that. This is a place that I've been dabbling in and writing in for many, many years. With my screenplay writing, I'm now firing on all cylinders. That's a very major part, end quote. D added that he enjoys being creative without stepping into the spotlight as a singer or actor. Quote, I really like that part of not being on stage, not being in front of the camera, not being out in front, just being the creative force behind, because it's so liberating to me. As long as I can create it on the page and an actor/actress can represent it convincingly, I can be anybody. I'm so free to be any age, any color, any sex with a written word. It's something I'm really striving toward. I don't plan on being on stage performing for the rest of my days, end quote. Snyder previously told the gambling and metal show Metal Casino Live about My Enemy's Enemy. Another quote, My Enemy's Enemy is powerfully disturbing. People said to me after Strangeland, why didn't I do something else? And I said, because I didn't have an idea. I didn't want to just do something typical. And there was a crime committed where I grew up on Long Island in 1982. It's considered the most horrible of crimes in the history of the area where I grew up. Each of the people convicted got 365 years in prison each for the crime. And I took that story and I said, well, what if, and I'm being very general because I don't want to give away too much at this point, but I said, what if this crime was happening? A Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees showed up, someone who was more evil. And My Enemy's Enemy is about, can we join each other when we're enemies to fight a greater enemy? If you've just had horrible things done to you by people, but could you work with them to fight somebody who is even more horrible? So it's based on a true story, but then I just went with what I call the X factor and go into fantasy world. So I think people are going to be very disturbed, but they're going to enjoy it, end quote. So another Dean Snyder opus to look forward to.
I actually liked Strangeland. I thought it was a really good movie. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least. It'll be out there for sure.
It's a great to I guess see a battle between Rob and D to see who can make the crazy shit. Probably so.
Well, Rob definitely does have the longevity.
Yeah. Well, I think that was like his passion though. Before that's kind of like a passion he had with music. Like he kind of had those passions together. So.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming out with Devil's Rejects while he was still doing Rob Zombie music. Yep. So it was almost like he created those things to put out new music too, because a lot of the times his music was on the soundtracks. So so yeah, we'll see what D's got for us, I guess. So. And then of course Rob's working on the Munsters right now, so I'm kind of curious to see. How that's going to play out. I'm sure it's not going to be comedy. All right, my next one is over from Loudwire. This was an interesting story as well. I guess a lot of family band members are not too happy with things about their deceased family member, but this one's. Derek Scott, brother of the late AC/DC singer Bon Scott, has publicly opened up about his rocker sibling for the first time in a TV documentary in the band's native Australia. He said it's the first and last time he'll grant such an interview. On the Brink, the Bon Scott-focused docu-special produced by current affairs show Australian Story premiered on ABC Australia on Monday, May 9th. In a preview clip, Derek says the main stories written about his brother, who died in 1980, are quote bullshit. So in on the Brink Derek addresses Bond's alcohol abuse issues. Some mystery still surrounds the circumstances of the AC/DC singer's death, but it's known he died from alcohol poisoning in what authorities infam- inf- infamously classified death by misadventure, which I call it choking on your own vomit, but whatever you want to call it, it's your business. But
Right.
that shit just pisses me off. Like, you keep saying alcohol poisoning. I mean, maybe, but because his blood level was so high, but he actually choked on his own vomit. That's what killed him. So,
Yeah, alcohol poisoning is a completely different thing.
right, yeah. So, he did
Guess
get bored very.
it just sounds sexier. I don't know.
I guess I don't know. He did get bored very quickly. Derek says of Bond, the influential ACDC frontman, whose real name was Ronald Scott. That was the biggest problem. When he got bored, he drank. He never worried about tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day. That was via classic rock. Devastatingly, Derek also remembered the life-changing phone call his family received from the late ACDC guitarist Malcolm Young, informing them of Bond's death. Mom thought, oh, Ron's ringing me to say happy birthday, which he often did, Derek shares. Malcolm didn't have time to explain because it was hitting the airways and he didn't want them to hear it on the radio, so he just said Ron died. On the preview for On the Brink, Derek justifies his decision to remain publicly silent about Bond all this time, explaining some of his feelings about his familiar connection to the singer. Everyone's interested, and if that's fantastic, but leave me out of it, he remarks. People would say, yeah, you're Bond's brother, and they start asking me questions. I just think it's not my life. It was his. So I kind of get that, I guess.
Yeah. But again, I mean, he was how old was Bon Scott? He was 30 or 31. I can't remember.
I think, yeah, 30, I think it was 31. I think.
Way too young.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about positioning. If he'd have been on his left or right side, he may still be here today. So,
yep, might.
What if?
Yep. Yeah. All right. For anybody who, this one's for anybody who has a little bit of extra spare time. Of course, who has that?
Right.
Critically acclaimed leading publisher of music books and animation, Fantoons, has announced the release of Iron Maiden, the official coloring book, on July 19th, 2022, for a list price of $17.99. The book is also available at the best bookstores nationwide, if you can find them, and around the world. Fans who purchase in advance will receive an Iron Maiden limited edition decorative cereal box with their book. It's a weird flex. Available only at fantoons.shop. Iron Maiden, the official coloring book, is a mega coloring book with 72 pages of spectacular art, a celebration of Iron Maiden from every possible angle, drawn by the award-winning Fantoons Animation Studio. This officially licensed Iron Maiden coloring book features spectacular illustrations, all inspired by the band's thunderous discography, and of course Eddie, the most iconic metal music mascot of all time. Ooh. The gauntlet's been thrown down, Vic Rattlehead. Created by artists of the award-winning animation studio and huge fans of the band, Fantoons, this official Iron Maiden coloring book showcases artwork inspired by the band's exhilarating sound, gripping storytelling, and humor. Choose your colors, crank the music loud, and enjoy this unique coloring book from one of the greatest bands of all time, a must-have for any Iron Maiden fan. With over 2,000 live performances, 100 million record sales, millions of fans around the globe, and 17 monumental studio albums, Iron Maiden is rightfully heralded as one of the most significant rock bands in the world. Alongside their incredible riffs, Iron Maiden's vast catalog of music paints a collage of mesmerizing imagery and weaves unforgettable and haunting tales. Well, that's kind of an understatement. So, and let's see, in order to save time here, there's the coloring book. Oh, there's the coloring book. Some of the pictures you can color. Get my finger out of the way. And then there's your cereal box. Iron Maiden Shredded Eddies.
Shredded Eddies.
So yeah. It would definitely be interesting to take a look at, but yeah, so go out and get you an Iron Maiden coloring book and some breakfast cereal.
So the bad thing would be with me was I would probably buy the breakfast cereal and never open it. But
Same. I mean, yeah, I would probably do the same thing.
Honestly, this probably sounds gross, but I have a box of cheesy poos with the Cartman on the on the box of it somewhere around here. So,
Well, here I've got something even more potentially gross than that. I have an unopened box of macaroni and cheese from Canada that has 2 hockey cards on the back, and one of them is Steve Yzerman, and one of them is from a player from the Vancouver Canucks who eventually ended up getting traded to Detroit later in his career from 1987.
oh, nice.
So I got a
You wanna use-
35-year-old box of macaroni and cheese in my hockey memorabilia collection downstairs.
Well, the macaroni is probably still okay,
Shit, you could
but
try to chew one of those noodles, you'd break a tooth. Cooked or not.
you gotta boil it, man. Come on.
Well, no, I mean cooked or not. That's what I mean. Cooked or not. I don't even think boiling water could save that macaroni at this point.
You just make a necklace out of it.
Hey, there you go. But what you can do, what the smart thing would be to do is at $17.99 is to buy 2, one to color and eat, the other one to keep. The other set to keep. So
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like we've talked before. I don't know if you and I have talked about it. Like some coworkers and I have talked about like the toys that we had growing up. Like if you could go back and tell yourself, hey,
God, yes.
like if you buy these Hot Wheels or these Micro Machines or these baseball cards or hockey cards or whatever you buy 2, one to mess with and one to hold on to.
I used to have I don't remember when like WWF come out with the wrestlers you play with. They come out with these big like rubber ones.
I remember those.
Yeah, I had like 10 or 12 of those things.
Mhm.
Man. It's like and I actually look at eBay now. Those things are going for like $1,000 a piece or some shit. I'm like, holy shit! I couldn't imagine I had Macho Man, so I can imagine what that one would be like right now with him passing away and everything.
But yeah,
man,
I do remember those. And those things were like hard. You could swing those and hit somebody with them, and that shit hurt.
Yeah,
those things were hard rubber, but I mean they were flexible and shit. But yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. All right, my last story is over from, believe it, drum roll, please. My last story is from Kerrang. Can you believe that?
Oh shit! Welcome back from the dead, Kerrang.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Drop Dead Clothing has been at the forefront of alternative fashion for over 15 years. Founded by the Bring Me the Horizon frontman Ollie Sykes, the company's trajectory has mirrored that of the band to which their own owner belongs, growing from spiky outsiders to scene leaders. Despite Bring Me the Horizon's busy calendar, Ollie remains deeply involved in Drop Dead Clothing's creative direction, thanks in part to the unique approach he and the head of design, Jacob Harry Carter, take when exploring new ideas. Drop Dead is Ollie's brainchild, Jacob Harry explains. We have a close relationship and work project to project on everything together. We'll start a collection by watching a bunch of films, playing video games, and talking about things that mean something to us until we have an idea of what we're excited about. It's important to separate ourselves from the noise, he continues. The focus has always been to create something meaningful and the kind of work that will last not only physically but conceptually through the narratives and campaigns we create alongside them. Narrative-driven collections and world building have become essential to Drop Dead Clothing's success in recent years. Not content to chuck together a range of garments that feel cool and on trend, each Drop Dead Clothing collection comes with its own backstory, creating a complete sense of immersion around the apparel. The recent Rival Schools drops, which featured a narrative concerning 4 rival street gangs who fight to the death in a dystopian world, demonstrates the widescreen vision behind Drop Dead Clothing. World building is really important for us, Jacob Harry concurs. It's what got me so obsessed with physical things like CDs and comics as a kid, and the tangible experience of reading a booklet while you listen to a record is similar to what I want people to experience when they wear Drop Dead. With the internet nowadays, it's easy to put out something with no depth. We never want Drop Dead to be seen that way. Ollie and I want Drop Dead to be something that lasts and the kind of thing that really makes you feel something. Having produced an array of vibrant collections from Rival Schools to mental health inspired activewear, range running from my range running from my demons, it feels like there's no limit as to where Drop Dead Clothing could go next. They're previously partnered with artists and franchises as diverse as Cradle of Filth, Game of Thrones, and Sonic the Hedgehog, but looking to the future, Jacob Harry promises the best is yet to come. Summer of 2022 is going to be very cool. He says we're creating a world that people won't expect from us as far as collaborations. There's definitely some that may take people by surprise. We've wanted the past couple of years to define what Drop Dead is, and now we're ready to jump back into that world. Drop Dead's Rival School collection is available now on their website. So check out some themed clothing there. That's even pretty wild to have different themed clothing. That's
Yeah.
pretty. And actually, I've seen pictures of the band, and Bring Me the Horizon actually wears a lot of the clothing from Drop Dead. So,
Oh, that's cool. It only makes sense.
well, yeah, you got to promote yourself, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's
All right,
good
well-
that they got a backup plan already. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Something
they
to fall
ever
back
get out,
on. Yeah.
get out of music, they got clothing. So
Yeah. Well, and another revenue stream, which is nice.
yeah,
That's what the Wu-Tang Clan would call diversifying y'all portfolio.
diversifying your funds.
That's right. And Wu-Tang would know.
Yeah, they ain't nothing to fuck with.
They are not. Well, hey, Wu-Tang would be welcome on Metalhead Unite. I tell you what, right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'd be welcome. All right, I've got a couple more. I got one more here over at Blabbermouth.
As long as they don't bring a stick and heat it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
All right. All right. Gibson has unveiled the latest addition to the Dave Mustaine collection, Dave's first acoustic guitar with Gibson, the Dave Mustaine songwriter. For the new acoustic guitar, Gibson Acoustic Luthiers in Bozeman, Montana, collaborated with Mustaine, the legendary guitarist, vocalist, songwriter, and founder of the multi-platinum selling and a Grammy Award-winning band Megadeth. That was a shot at the Grammy Awards. The Gibson Dave Mustaine songwriter in Ebony is available in both a standard version and a limited edition model signed by the artist. The entire Dave Mustaine collection is available now at select global dealers and on Gibson.com. Part of the Dave Mustaine collection, the new Dave Mustaine songwriter in Ebony is the first 24-fret neck ever installed on a Gibson acoustic guitar with a slightly thinner walnut body. The Dave Mustaine songwriter guitar. We're doing the Gene Simmons thing all over again. The Dave Mustaine songwriter guitar features a cutaway for easy access to the upper frets. An extremely limited edition version of the Dave Mustaine songwriter in Ebony signed by Dave Mustaine is also available. Gibson is honored to be working with Mustaine, who formed Megadeth at the dawn of the American thrash metal movement. Mustaine has sold 50 million records worldwide, earned 6 platinum albums, and is a Grammy Award winner, cancer survivor, and a certified first-degree black belt in Ukidokan Karate and Song-Am Taekwondo, an honorary 4th-degree black belt and goodwill ambassador in the World Taekwondo Federation, and he is currently on the way to a 1st-degree black belt in Gracie Barra Jiu-Jitsu. Renowned worldwide and synonymous with metal guitar, Mustaine founded Megadeth in 1984 and less than a year later debuted with the release of Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good in 1985. Megadeth has gone on to sell more than 50 million albums worldwide. They're getting redundant now, earning many accolades along the way, including a Grammy Award for the title track from its most recent album, Dystopia, along with 12 additional Grammy nominations, as well as 5 consecutive platinum, multi-platinum albums. Megadeth has headlined many of the biggest stages in the world and recently played their most successful tour ever, closing every night on the North American Amphitheater, the Metal Tour of the Year, which we got to see that, so it's cool. Also, a New York Times best-selling author and sought-after speaker, host, and commentator, Mustaine has remained a standard bearer for heavy metal and heavy guitar rock, combining a musical and technical standard with the punk and rock and roll ethos and attitude. So congratulations to Dave for a new guitar. Although I think it's kind of surprising it is acoustic, but hey, you never know. You may need to play a power ballad every now and then. So again, another revenue stream, diversifying your portfolio, all that shit. So
just say they'll play Seek and Destroy while he's coming out.
Right, yeah. Hence my shot at the Grammys, bunch of dumbasses. All right, and then moving over to the PRP chart topping, Iowan metal institution Slipknot will be making their way to third-person multiplayer online battle arena video game Smite. All 9 of the band's current members will be featured in the new update, which launches this month. You can see a trailer of the band in action in the free-to-play MOBA below, and that's at the story, so you'll have to check that out. It is presumed the band's involvement in the game will be in the form of a battle pass set to launch sometime after May 17th. More details on the collaboration will be revealed 3 days ago at twitch.tv/Smite Game at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. So that has already happened. But again, you can see there is a YouTube video of the game with Slipknot, being available to use. Slipknot themselves have been pushing further into the digital realm, having announced the formation of their own Knotverse last month. So, and like I say, there's a shot. See, so it says Smite times Slipknot, available May 22nd. So that'll be the video thumbnail you'd be looking for over there at YouTube if you want to check that out. So
Cool.
So that's my last current event story, but I saw something on Loudwire that I thought was I thought that was would be interesting to kind of go through real quick. It's over, like I say, it's over at Loudwire, and it's the 10 biggest rock and metal bands with the most lineup changes. So I thought that would be kind of interesting to take a look at real quick. The story starts off with, a lot of the time a lineup change can be a really good thing for a band. Sometimes there are members that just aren't working out together. Sometimes people decide to pursue other endeavors, and unfortunately sometimes members die. Regardless of the reason, bands choose to carry on with different people is often a big decision, especially if the person or people they are replacing were really important to the overall identity of the group. In cases such as Led Zeppelin, the death of John Bonham marked the end of their career because the surviving members felt that it wouldn't be Led Zeppelin without him. In other instances, such as with AC/DC, the death of vocalist Bon Scott inspired them to continue on and honor the legacy they created with him. Again, death isn't the only reason someone would be replaced in a band. Ozzy Osbourne, for example, was fired from Black Sabbath, and they went through several different variations of musicians afterwards. They're on this list, as are several others who've had an immense number of iterations. Bands with a lot of session or touring members don't count for the purpose of this gallery, only those with many members who are officially considered an actual part of the group at one point or another. Scroll below to see the biggest rock and metal bands with the most lineup changes. And then you got the first one. I mean, these are in no particular order, obviously. These had the most. And so the first one is Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses are probably one of the first bands that come to mind when thinking about lineup inconsistencies. For starters, the Appetite for Destruction lineup that they became famous for, Axl Rose, Slash, Duff McKagan, Steven Adler, and Izzy Stradlin, was not actually the original lineup. And then, of course, more and more members started quitting and getting fired, and by the end of the 90s, Rose was the only member of the Appetite lineup left in the band. As he took Guns through its lengthy Chinese Democracy era, there was a revolving door of musicians making contributions, including Buckethead, Josh Freese, Robin Fink, Chris Pittman, and more. Now Rose is once again joined by Slash and McKagan, as well as Richard Fortus, Melissa Reese, Frank Ferrer, and Dizzy Reed, who's remained in the group since he was hired in the early 90s. So there's Guns N' Roses. Then the aforementioned Black Sabbath. Huh?
Also, of course, you had like Steve Adler on 20 rehab episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that probably didn't help either. So.
Right. Yeah. Then we move on to the aforementioned Black Sabbath. While there are only a few iterations of Black Sabbath that are popular, they've also had a fair share of members since their inception in 1968. The original quartet of Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Ozzy Osbourne, and Geezer Butler is the lineup that got them massive success, but it didn't last more than a decade. Iommi, Butler, and Ward played with various singers throughout their career after Osbourne's departure, most notably Ronnie James Dio, Deep Purple's Ian Gillan, and Glenn Hughes, Tony Martin, and a few more before Osbourne rejoined. However, Sabbath also had a few other musicians play tenures with them as well, including Vinny Appice, Jeff Nichols, Eric Singer, and more. Then moving on, we have Iron Maiden. Similar to Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden had many different vocalists since it first formed, a total of 5, but they also had a lot of musicians cycle in and out over the years. They've had about 15 combinations of members total. Paul Day and Dennis Wilcock were technically the first two singers in the band, but Paul Di'Anno was the first one who actually performed on one of their studio albums, their 1980 self-titled debut, followed by 1981's Killers. Bruce Dickinson became their most well-known frontman and has appeared on the majority of Maiden's discography, though he did take a break from the band for a couple of years. To this day, Steve Harris has been the only constant member of Iron Maiden, and he's currently joined by Dickinson, Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, Nico McBrain, and Janet Gerse. So, I mean, Steve Harris was the guy who formed the band way back in 1975, right. So, it's good that he's still around. Then, of course, we have Megadeth. Megadeth have also had over 20 official members play in the band at some point since they formed in 1983. Initially, the thrash band consisted of Dave Mustaine, Chris Poland, David Ellefson, and Gar Samuelson, according to the lineup timeline on their website. Aside from Mustaine, Ellefson was the second most steady member of Megadeth. Though he was out of the group for a period in the 2000s, he made his return in 2010. However, in 2021, he was fired as a result of some allegations that surfaced online against him, allegations that we have reported on this show more than one occasion. More than any other person, Megadeth has had the longest list of both guitarists and drummers. After Poland, Jeff Young took the role as guitarist, then Marty Friedman, Al Pitrelli, Glenn Drover, Chris Broderick, and now Kiko Loureiro. As for drummers, after Samuelson was Chuck Baylor, Nick Menza, Jimmy DeGrasso, Sean Drover, Chris Adler, and now Dirk Verburen. That's actually quite the list going on of musicians that Dave Mustaine was actually able to pull into that band. Then we've got go ahead.
I was saying that it was Nick Menza that passed away, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So
and I see that you posted another playlist. Was that last week's?
That is the Metal Tour of the Year playlist.
Ah, cool. All right, yeah. So yeah, that playlist I put together because it is it's the entirety of the Nashville tour stop of the Megadeth Lamb of God Shadows Fall and In Flames show that Jason and I went to last week. So.
Which we got famous for on one of the websites that I was looking at. They actually had that
right
video on there where Dave called out the security guard. So,
yeah.
So Nashville's famous on the.
Yep.
You remember Blabbermouth?
Yeah.
Had it, but I was.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. So. All right. So moving on, we've got Anthrax. Anthrax started as a quartet in 1981, comprised of Scott Ian, Dan Lilker, Dave Weiss, and Joe Giglione. But that version of the band was short-lived. Paul Kahn and John Connolly took the places of Weiss and Giglione, respectively, and the replacements continued even after that. By the time they released their debut album, Fistful of Metal, in 1984, Ian and Lilker were the only members that had survived the wave of turnovers. The duo was joined by Neil Turbin, Dan Spitz, and Charlie Benante, though Joey Belladonna would soon replace Turbin and Bella would take over for Lilker. This lineup stuck for a bit through their albums Spreading the Disease, Among the Living, State of Euphoria, and Persistence of Time. 1993's Sound of White Noise started a new phase for the band where Belladonna was replaced by John Bush, but Joey is currently back in the band with Ian, Benante, Bello, and guitarist Jonathan Donay. So, yeah.
And I think that was probably one of the bands that making that change, they never lost a step too. It's kind of, I think it actually helped their career by changing at the time that they did. So, because
I can agree with that.
I brought a different at the timeline, with the timeline being in the 90s, I brought a different fan base to Anthrax. So, not knocking Joey Belladonna at all.
Well, of course not.
That John Bush stepped in when they probably. And actually, I think he probably saved them, if nothing else, because, like I said, with that timeline, with the kind of music that was out, there was it was hard for Slayer and Death Angel and bands like that to be out there with late 80s, early 90s, with hair metal, taking over the scene. So, with John Bush's style, it kind of converted people like, oh. Well, this isn't hair metal, but it's heavier, but I like it. Kind of feel to it. I guess Black Lodge really probably set the tone for bringing a lot of people over too. So I don't think they've ever had a kind of a ballady type song before that.
Yeah.
So that I can remember anyway. So.
Yeah, and you talk about a guy who hasn't lost a step all these years later is fucking John Bush.
You're right. Yeah, that
Oh,
Armored
God.
Saint, that last Armored Saint album was pretty badass. So.
Yeah, it was. All right, then let's see. We got Deep Purple. Deep Purple are another group that has had many different singers. Out of all the different members that have been in the band, 4 were lead vocalists. Rod Evans was their first frontman before Ian Gillan took the position, and he's been singing for them throughout the majority of their existence. However, David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, as well Joe Lynn Turner, has also had stints as the band's singer. In total, they've had about 8 different official lineups, but despite the turnover they endured, Deep Purple, just like the others on this list, have remained a household name all these years. Then we get into a couple bands that aren't, that aren't metal, but I mean we'll go ahead and read about them too, because this next one, everyone knows this band and probably knows the story. We got Lynyrd Skynyrd. This one's a doozy. Ultimate Classic Rock notes that Lynyrd Skynyrd have had a total of 18 different lineups. Yes, 18, and guitarist Gary Rossington is the only member that's been a part of every single one of them. Skynyrd's story is a bit different, though. When their plane crashed in 1977, vocalist Ronnie Van Zant, guitarist Steve Gaines, and backup vocalist Cassie Gaines were among the victims who lost their lives. Perhaps if they hadn't been struck by such a tragedy, the band could have lasted a long time with the incarnation they had at the time. No one will ever be able to say for sure. As of present-day Lynyrd Skynyrd is Johnny Van Zant, Gary Rossington, Ricky Medlock, Mark Mateka, I guess, Peter Keys, Keith Christopher, and Michael Cartellone. So that one's a little bit different, like they said, because odds are probably better than average that had that plane crash not happened, that lineup would have stayed together a lot longer, if not to this day. Who knows? I mean, again, like we said before, what if, so
right.
But that one kind of sucks because that was a lineup change that was forced upon them,
right.
by no doing of their own. So, and then we've got Fleetwood Mac. Like I say, not a metal band, but over their 5.5-decade career, Fleetwood Mac have also undergone many lineup transitions. Of the 18 musicians who've formerly been considered a member of the band, only Mick Fleetwood and John McVie have been in the band from its inception in 1967 until the present day. That's all it really says about them. So, doesn't talk about, all the trouble that was caused when members of the band started sleeping together and shit like that.
Right.
So we don't want to talk about that.
It was the 70s, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, and then we veer back to heavy metal for the next one. We got Twisted Sister. Twisted Sister's beginnings are just a bit confusing in general. The group was initially called Silver Star and consisted of Mel Starr, Billy Diamond, Wayne Brown, Tony Bunn, Steve Gorino, and guitarist J.J. French, who ultimately pushed for the band's name to be changed. Members came and went during those first few years. Michael O'Neill joined as lead singer after the departure of Brown, and he came up with the idea of the moniker for Twisted Sister. But as we know, he wouldn't last as their singer because Dee Snider joined in 1976. By the time they released their first album, Under the Blade, in 1982, they'd already had over 10 different musicians come in and out. But the classic version of French, Snider, Eddie Ojeda, Mark Mendoza, and A.J. Pero was the one they became known for, obviously. And then last on the list, not a metal band, but we have Yes. Last but certainly not least, we have Yes, which has had a collective total of 19 members join or leave since they formed in 1968. Late bassist Chris Squire was the most consistent member of the band. He helped found the group and remained part of every lineup until he died in 2015. Now Yes doesn't have any original members left. So can you call him maybe now? I don't know. That was bad. When Yes first formed, Squire was joined by singer John Anderson, Peter Banks, Bill Bruford, and Tony Kaye. Most of the various lineups only lasted 1 or 2 years max, but there were a few that stuck for a bit longer, including that of Anderson, Squire, Steve Howe, Rick Wakeman, and Alan White from 76 to 80, and Anderson, Squire, White, Tony Kaye, and Trevor Rabin from 82 to 88. Yes are currently comprised of Hal White, Jeff Downs, Billy Sherwood, and John Davidson. Or Davison. So that was like
now they're just called Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah, that would have been a lot better. So yeah, I thought that was just interesting. A lot of people might think, well, these got these super duper popular. And like I say, not all of those were metal, but I mean, you got these super duper popular acts who have been together for decades, talking back to Sabbath and Yes, and, the late 60s, Iron Maiden was formed in 75. So, I mean, you're talking, 4 or 5 decades later, it's like, oh man, those guys have been together forever. Well, not really. So just thought it was kind of interesting.
There's a couple of stories that I didn't want to, I kind of went off on this last week, and I thought it was at least cool to kind of touch on them, not really go into detail too much, but a couple of stories that are out there that I thought were needed to be talked about, but not really in detail, I guess. I don't know if you've seen, but Steel Panther's mixing their next studio album in June. So
I did see that. Yeah.
So we may be seeing some Steel Panther stuff before the end of the year. That'd be kind of cool. Who's playing bass? Who's playing bass though? We don't know, but
still have no idea.
Well, I mean, the picture even only had the three members in the picture. So I'm just like, okay, well,
right.
It may be one of those surprise scenes that whenever they come out with it, they're going, oh, well, there's a new bassist. So
right, yeah, maybe.
And, then Kelly Osbourne and Sid Wilson are expecting the baby, so congrats to them. Wonder what kind of mask they're going to put on it when it comes out. But,
you're right.
Then, of course, Five Finger Death Punch just released a new single, and actually they released a whole track list for their new album. They didn't really give a release date for the album, but they released the track list, so I thought that was kind of strange. But
well, I didn't see the exact date, but I think they said something about it's going to be released in August, but I'm not exactly sure what day. So
I didn't see a date at all. I just seen the track list, and they said,
yeah, don't quote me on August. For some reason, I thought that's what I saw though. But
well, I mean, it's so August to be a big month with Machine Head already pretty much inked in for August. So
yeah,
I mean, the summer is going to be the end of the summer, like July, August. It's going to be pretty heavy. So
yeah, because Megadeth is in July. So
yeah, and something else I seen was July as well. I can't remember now.
Oh, there's no telling. I'm sure there's somebody we're forgetting off the top of our heads for sure.
I did a Creator. I don't remember when theirs is coming out. But
I wanted to say that's later this month, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay,
I think the Creator's in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
I'll have to take it.
I can't wait for that. So
yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. I could actually probably look that up real quick, but because we're already halfway through May. So
and then of course, Nonpoint, I follow them on their social media, so they're in the studio recording their next EP now. So, with the way they do things, that may be hitting before the end of the year as well. So,
okay, I was wrong about the Creator album. I don't know where I saw it. I do know it's coming up. I'm like you. I do know it's coming up.
Yeah. I just didn't know exactly when. I didn't know if they released that actual date yet. So, then of course Slipknot. I don't remember if that's June or July too. So,
well, shit, what the fuck? I don't see it listed here at all now, which is weird because I know it's coming out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope so. They didn't release 2 or 3 singles off of it. So.
Yeah, they have. That's fucking weird. Okay, yeah, that's weird, but it is coming up. I do know that.
Well, like I said, I didn't have anything this week for the notable moments in history segment. So if you got albums or whatever you want to,
yeah, I do.
Feel free to to do that, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shorter list. I think I only got 2 and just a touch over 3 pages, but yeah, we can get through this relatively quickly. So yeah, leading off with some holdovers from the end of last week's show. We have May 7th, 2003. Before I get too far, that's this week in metal history, as always, brought to you guys by This Day in Metal and Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde on Twitter and Facebook, respectively. So go visit those guys, check them out. Like I said, May 7th, 2003, Marilyn Manson releases his 5th studio album, The Golden Age of the Grotesque, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. May 7th, 2007, TNT releases their 10th studio album, The New Territory. May 7th, 2013, Joe Satriani releases his 14th studio album, Unstoppable Momentum, which peaked at number 42 on the Billboard 200. And May 7th, 1996, Pantera releases their 8th studio album, The Great Southern Trendkill, which peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Then moving ahead to the 8th, May 8th, 2015, Serenia releases their 7th studio album, The Seventh Life Path. Bonfire releases their 13th studio album, Glorious, and Camelot releases their 11th studio album, Haven. And May 8th, 2020, Axl Rudy Pell releases Sign of the Times. On May 9th, 1986, Sodom releases their debut album, Obsessed by Cruelty. May 9th, 2014, Elven King releases their 8th studio album, The Pagan Manifesto. And May 9th, 1989, Dangerous Toys released their self-titled debut studio album, which peaked at number 65 on the Billboard 200. Moving up to the 10th, May 10th, 2019, Extrema releases their 7th studio album, Headbanging Forever. May 10th, 2016, Tothen releases their 2nd studio album, Gemini. May 10th, 1990, Steelheart releases their self-titled debut studio album, which peaked at number 40 on the Billboard 200. May 10th, 1994, Great White releases their 7th studio album, Sail Away. And May 10th, 2004, Killswitch Engage releases their 3rd studio album, The End of Heartache, which was a fantastic album. Mm-hmm. Moving ahead to the 11th, May 11th, 1998, Opeth releases their 3rd studio album, My Arms, Your Hearse. May 11th, 2010, As I Lay Dying releases their 5th studio album, The Powerless Rise, which debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200. May 11th, 1988, Hades releases If At First You Don't Succeed. May 11th, 1983, Overdrive releases their debut album, Metal Attack. And May 11th, 1985, Saigon releases their debut album, One Must Die. Moving ahead to the 12th, May 12th, 1997, Kingdom Come releases their 6th studio album, Master 7. May 12th, 2003, Talisman releases their 6th studio album, Cats and Dogs, and Autograph releases their 5th studio album, Buzz. May 12th, 2017, Warrant releases their 9th studio album, Louder, Faster, Harder, which peaked at number 19 on the Billboard Top Independent Albums chart. And Cobra and the Lotus releases their 4th studio album, Prevail I. Moving ahead to the 13th, May 13th, 2011, Hell releases their debut album, Human Remains. May 13th, 2016, Devil Driver releases their 7th studio album, Trust No One. May 13th, 2008, Dokken releases their 10th studio album, Lightning Strikes Again, which debuted at number 133 on the Billboard 200. And Michael Schenker Group releases their 10th studio album, In the Midst of Beauty. May 13th, 2003, XYZ releases their 3rd studio album, Letter to God. And May 13th, 2014, Avatar releases their 5th studio album, Hail the Apocalypse, which debuted at number 97 on the Billboard 200. And as of this morning, I didn't have anything historical for today's date, May 14th. So anything that comes across will be the lead for next week's segment. So those are the historical releases as of right now for the 8th through the 14th.
Cool. All right, I guess we can jump into hitting the road. I actually only have 2, so
okay.
I won't take up a whole lot of time this week. So I don't know how many you found, but
I've got, like I say, I've got a little over 3 pages again this week. But this was actually a little bit of a shorter list than I'm normally able to find. But there'll be ebbs and flows. Anything.
Well, I'll go through the 2 I have, and then I'll let Chris take over for the rest of the segment there.
Okay.
The first one I had was the Scorpions, Whitesnake, and Thunder Mother 2022 tour dates. August 21st, Toronto, Ontario at the Budweiser Stage is their first show, and it will wrap up October 21st at Las Vegas, Nevada at the Mandalay Bay. So a pretty good little extensive tour there. Couple of months there. Usually don't see like here lately you've been seeing these tours and they only go for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then they go to a different tour, and then I'm like, damn. So seeing a couple of months, I guess like the one we just watched with Megadeth and them was pretty. They were already in their 4th week when they came to Nashville. So
yeah.
All right, and then the next one I had was the Bastardane and Otto's second leg of their 2022 U.S. tour dates. So they're actually leaving California. Well, some parts of it they are, but that kicks off. They kind of like they said second leg, and then one article I've seen had them all listed together. So I'm just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
but I'll just go with second leg because I did remember talking about this earlier on and gave dates, so I'm going to go with the second leg. So that's going to kick off on June 11th at the Costa Mesa, California at the Tiki Bar, and then ends on July 1st in Jacksonville, Florida at Jack Rabbits. So those are the two that I had. So
Cool. All right. So my contribution to this week's Hitting the Road segment, we're starting off at the PRP like usual. We have Era, Alpha Wolf, Thornhill, and Invent Animate going out on tour starting July 15th at Zydeco in Birmingham, Alabama. Thornhill actually will not be at that show there, so they won't be starting the tour.
So
But what's that?
Yes, an Era replaced their missing member, I guess.
Yeah, they must have, or they're just going to have like a session musician fill in yet. I haven't actually heard yet, so
That could be too. Yeah.
yeah. But then the tour will actually finish August 20th at the Basement East in Nashville, so they will be coming here the very last date of the tour. So that'll be cool. Then we have North Lane, Silent Planet, Loath, and Avoid going out on tour starting July 13th at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco, California, finishing August 25th at the Regent in Los Angeles. No Nashville date on that tour. Then Cave In will be going out on tour. They will be making a festival appearance tomorrow at the Oblivion Access Festival in Austin. Then they will be going on a U.S. tour with Author and Punisher starting July 21st at the Fite Music Hall in Providence, Rhode Island. And they will finish August 6th at Browns Island featuring Avail, Quicksand, and Ceremony. Author and Punisher will not be at that date. No Nashville dates on the U.S. tour. Then they will be going on a European and UK tour with Stake starting October 13th at Amplifest in Porto, Portugal. Stake is not going to be at the festival. And then they will be finishing October.
I mean, it might be. Depends on what kind of vendors are there.
That's true. Yeah. And then finishing October 28th at Room 2 in Glasgow, UK. Then Bloodbath and Dismember are both pulling out of the Maryland Death Fest. Bloodbath for visa issues and Dismember because of COVID restrictions. So those two bands will not be there. I'm not 100% sure if replacements have been named because I don't think there had been at the time that I saw this story. So that may have changed. I should have followed up on that, and I apologize for that. But
I thought I did see something. I'll look it up real quick.
Okay,
that was at the Maryland Death Fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think I did see. I think I did see where some.
Okay.
Some
all right.
Fill-ins were going to be. I'll look at it real quick.
Okay. Yeah. So Bloodbath and Dismember will not be there, and Jason will have the replacements if they have been named here in just a second. Then we have Polyphia, Unprocessed, and Death Tour going out together starting July 28th at House of Blues in Houston, finishing October 3rd at Come and Take It Live in Austin, Texas. No Nashville date for that. We have Sleeping with Sirens, Don Bracco, Point North, and Garzi going out on tour starting July 14th at House of Blues in Chicago, finishing August 14th at Truman in Kansas City, Missouri. Again, no Nashville date for that. We have the Breathing Process, Reaping, Asmodia, and The Behest of Serpents going out on tour in June. For a quick jog, starting June 15th at Gasa Gasa in New Orleans, Louisiana, finishing June 24th at Legends in Cincinnati, Ohio. No Nashville date for that. Then we have Shiner going on tour in July, just a quick 4-date jog starting July 12th at Beachland Tavern in Cleveland, Ohio, finishing July 15th at Zanzibar in Louisville, Kentucky. No Nashville dates there. Then Comeback Kid is going on a European and UK tour with a whole bunch of different bands at various dates. The bands that will be rotating in and out include Spaced, XL Life, Dagger Threat, Darkest Hour, Sick of It All, Madball, and Devil in Me. Their tour starts June 24th at Full Force in Ferropolis, Germany, rounding out at the Summer Blast in Trier, Germany on August 20th. Then Year of the Knife is going to Europe and the UK starting June 10th at Club Vaudeville in Lindau, Germany, finishing June 26th at Hellfest in Clisson, France. Then Vulvodynia and Pintglass are going on a July UK tour starting July 2nd at Techfest in Newark, UK. Pintglass will not be at that show. Finishing July 10th at Boston Music Room in London, UK. Combichrist is going on a European UK tour starting May 18th at Schlachthof in Wiesbaden, Germany, or Wiesbaden, however the hell they say it over there. Finishing August 21st at Motoculture in St. Nolf, France. Then we move over to blabbermouth.net. We have The Devil Wears Prada, Stray from the Path, and Dying Wish going out together starting August 4th at The Rave in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, finishing September 11th at Blue Ridge Rock Fest in Danville, Virginia. So, Jason, you'll get to see those guys. And they have a date in Nashville, September 6th at East Side Bowl, which is actually in Madison, which is, right outside Nashville. So, because I was like, East Side Bowl, where the hell is that? So I looked it up, and it's actually which is actually in Madison. For the people who aren't from the area, here is just one town north of Nashville, up I-65. So,
well, it's kind of like Nashville has like Donaldson and
right,
Antioch, and all. It's all Nashville, but
yeah, it's a suburb technically. So. Then Lacuna Coil will be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the release of Comalies with a special one-night only concert at Fabrique in Milano, Italy on October 15th. So all you guys over there in Italy can check that out. Then we have Metal Gods, which is Tim Ripper Owens and Simon Wright going on an Australian tour with a tribute to Judas Priest and Ronnie James Dio. They will be at Mansfield Tavern in Brisbane on October 14th, and they will be at Badlands in Perth on October 22nd. So, there's a quick run around Australia that they're going on. So, but that would be pretty cool if something like that came anywhere around here.
oh yeah,
Something, Tim Ripper Owens paying Judas Priest to paying tribute to Judas Priest and Ronnie James Dio. Shit, I'd pay to see that.
yeah, all day, every day.
Yeah. And then we have Smashing Pumpkins and Jane's Addiction going out on tour together with Poppy and Meg Myers taking turns as openers in different cities. Starting October 2nd at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, finishing November 19th at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. They will be at Bridgestone Arena on October 10th.
Taking turns, you say?
Yeah, taking turns. Take that however you want to take it. And then I've got a couple over at metalinjection.net. I have Mizmor with I Hate God and Heretical Sect at select dates starting August 12th at Substation in Seattle, Washington, finishing finishing August 27th at the Shredder in Boise, Idaho. They will not be coming to Nashville. And Suicidal Tendencies, their European summer touring plans will commence May 13th, which was actually last night. So this has already started. May 13th at Beck in Baracaldo in Bilbao, Spain. That's a lot of B's in there. Finishing June 30th at Urakinist Festival in Belfort, France. I don't know if that's exactly how you say that, but so there you go. So that is that's hitting the road for May 7th through May 13th.
I did see. I think what happened with the Death Fest was they're going to have Autopsy and Demolition Hammer swap their days or something. From what I'm reading.
Okay.
So Autopsy is now playing on Saturday, and Demolition Hammer is now playing on Friday. So
okay. So not necessarily replacements; they're just rearranging.
Right. They're just just rearranging some times there. So, which I mean, they still got 90 plus other bands there. So I don't think they're going to be any lack of
No, there'll be plenty of bands to watch, that's for sure. But it's a bummer for Bloodbath and Dismember. I'm sure the guys in those bands for sure, and then of course any fans of those two groups. But
yeah, so all right, I guess that goes through our hitting the road there. So
it does.
We will get into our top 10 metal songs of the week.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that we're not all English majors, and we
No, we are not.
and we would definitely get upset at autocorrect when they autocorrect us with stuff. But we decided we were going to do this over punctuation.
Yep.
I wish there was more exclamation point songs that I could put in there, but nothing that wasn't intros.
Right.
But actually,
Yes.
I wish I would have thought about it being Friday the 13th. I probably would have went more superstition this week.
Yeah, well, you know.
I didn't think much about being Friday the 13th until it actually was Friday the 13th. I thought, oh shit, it's Friday the 13th. I should have did that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
so
there will odds are be more than one Friday the 13th this year, so we'll kind of hold that.
well,
over.
that is true. Yeah. So, some of my stuff on my list I may have to explain. There's definitely some.
Yeah, you're probably right, because this is because we went with, like you say, we went with punctuation. This is one that's going to be more
pretty broad. So
it's broad, but it'll be one that'll have to be explained because the punctuation may not be immediately clear. So
right.
this one is more, well, you'd have to see the name of the song or the name of the band or whatever to kind of get it. Some of them people will probably get right off the hop, but this is one that would be a little more clear, like if people actually see the playlist once we put it together and be like, oh,
right. Yeah, once they see it, then they'll definitely know. So
So I totally get where you're coming from there. So because punctuation is literally just like periods, apostrophes, commas, exclamation
yeah,
marks. That's all it is.
Yeah,
That's
parentheses
literally all it is.
and yeah. So, it's
ampersands
rather than less than
and
signs.
yeah, ampersands and ellipses and all that shit. So yeah. But there was no shortage of songs, that's for sure.
Well, no, there wasn't. Actually, I put a couple of extra ones down just in case. So
nice.
So that playlist I just posted was from Mother's Day last week. So
okay, there we go.
Mother's Day playlist there. So before we get into the new one,
yeah, which Mother's Day got a full 30 songs.
Yeah, it did. So
yeah, 2.5 hours.
2-hour playlist. So hopefully, just to let you guys know, we talked to the boss last week, and he is talking about changing over to a different radio station. So if that happens, then we may be able to do these on there. So we may not have to do them on Spotify anymore.
Right.
So hopefully, we'll see. But,
hopefully we're kind of heading towards we're heading towards because I know we've talked about it on this show many times. If you guys have been here with us for any length of time, first of all, we appreciate it. But if that is the case, you guys have heard us talk about, and this goes back to like the end of 21, the beginning of 22. I mean, hell, we're damn near into summer now, but you guys have heard us talk before about us having possibly a second show where we actually get to do, music videos for you guys, which is what we've been wanting to do from the get-go, getting to a point where we could do that. So hopefully this will steer us closer to that happening, because we will be super duper pumped for that, when it happens.
Yeah, and you can go down the rabbit holes with us. So.
Right. We've gotten caught down many. So
yeah. You'd be 1 a.m. going, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, my top 10 songs with punctuation. Start out with a couple obvious ones here, but my first one was Queensryche. Anybody listening? ?
Right.
From Empire 1990. And then my second one was Machine Head. Is there anybody out there? ? Which I didn't know this. I didn't know that was not on any other albums. Did you know?
Yep.
That?
Nope. That was just a standalone single.
I was like, holy shit! I did not know that.
Yep. Kind of like All Out Life with Slipknot. Same thing. It was just a standalone single.
It's cool that but I was like, wow, that's like one of my favorite songs from them too. So it's kind of
yeah.
It wasn't on anything.
Mine too.
And then my third one was Tetrarch. I'm Not Right. Of course, I'm being the contraction for I am, but
right.
that's from Unstable of 2021.
That's what I liked about this one. I mean, it was subtle, but it was easy.
Yeah.
You know, I liked it. There was a broad, like you said, there was a broad range.
I got to make it easy on you sometimes.
Yeah.
There's been many times Chris would text me in the middle of the week, going, "Dude, this fucking list is hard."
Yeah. But then the fucked up thing is like with last week's, I was like, man, I don't know how it's gonna. But then we end up with.
Once you got rolling,
yeah. So.
You know, that's the thing. I think once you get to that one part where you get the gist, like you get like a lead in or whatever, then it just kind of starts flowing. It starts flowing. So
yeah.
All right, my next one was Five Finger Death Punch, Mother May I, TikTok. Of course, TikTok is in parentheses. So that was from Fate 2020.
All right. And the only reason why I'm writing these down is that way I can keep track of like any doubles we may have. Because now that over the past few weeks that we've actually been able to get the collaborative thing working right on Spotify.
True.
I'm gonna post mine. You can post yours, and then I'll rearrange them however we need to. So yeah, that's the only reason why I'm gonna keep continuing to write them down, is just so I can keep track of the overlaps.
Yeah, and then the next one was Pantera, I'm Broken. Of course. There you go, with the I'm again, but that's from Far Beyond Driven in '94. Then I had Lamb of God, Hyperthermic Accelerate, which had a slash in between Hyperthermic and Accelerate. And that was from the Lamb of God Deluxe Edition 2021.
Nice.
I had Trivium, Anthem, We Are the Fire. We are the Fires in parentheses. That was from the Crusade 2008.
Yeah. I think that's one of Trivium's more underrated tracks.
Yeah.
If not
the whole album. I mean,
I was gonna say, yeah.
You don't usually hear a lot from that album, but there's a lot of good songs on that
album. There is. Entrance of the Conflagration is on there too. So yeah, there's an underrated album for sure. But yeah, I like that song too.
And then I had Motionless in White, Code, to just kind of show you. Actually, I will text it on here in the comments about that.
Okay.
Because it is like really, really strange. Like I don't know how they come up with the way they did that, but. I make sure I'm doing it right. So it's really, really strange. So, but it looks. Make sure I did it right. Yeah. So it looks like that.
Okay, I got it.
So really, really, like they put some greater than, less than, slashes, all kind of shit in there. It's like wow.
Yep.
Then my next one was Ice Nine Kills, Me, Myself, and Hyde. The end, of course, is the aforementioned.
Yeah. Well, you also had the comma in there. So.
Yeah, the commas are in there too. Yes. a lot of stuff going on there. So,
yeah.
That was from Every Trick in the Book 2015. And then I had Hell Yes, Alcohol and Ass. From Hell Yeah 2007.
With the apostrophe.
And then the three that I had, if you want to write those down as well for reasons, if we had any overlaps.
For reasons? Okay.
just for the shits and giggles, I guess.
Yeah.
I had Slipknot Sick. That's Sick, of course, in parentheses, SIC, by the way.
Yep.
That was from their self-titled album in '99, and then I had Mushroom Head, Solitaire Unraveling, which Solitaire Unraveling has a slash in between. That was from M399, and then which I probably should have put this one up, but I kind of feel like I show a lot of favoritism toward Non-Point, but
that's okay.
I love fucking Non-Point, but Non-Point's Divided, Conquer Them, which Divided has 3 periods and then Conquer Them. So that was from the Poison Red in 2016. So that was the 3 extra ones I had. So
Yeah, that's totally fine. So we have Mushroom Head and Non-Point. Nice. Yeah, so we did have one overlap, but that doesn't surprise me. I thought we may end up with a couple other ones, but we didn't, so that's totally fine. All right, so leading off, I've got Chop Suey with the exclamation mark by System of a Down from Toxicity in 2001. Then I had Adidas from Korn, Life is Peachy, 1996. And of course, we know that's All Day I Dream About Sex. So it's A.D.I. So, you know. And then my next one was And Justice for All by Metallica off of the album of the same name from 1988. And of course, we know it was ... And Justice for All. So the ellipses leading in there. Then I had The Blood, The Sweat, The Tears by Machine Head off the Burning Red from 1999. Obviously because of the commas. Then the overlap, I had I'm Broken by Pantera from Far Beyond Driven, 1994. Such a good song. Such a good album. Oh, so good. Then this one you'll know and will make you laugh. I had Eatin' Ain't Cheatin' by Steel Panther off of Feel the Steel from 2009. You know, you had apostrophes galore in that one. So
yeah.
Then I went with Now You've Got Something to Die For by Lamb of God off of Ashes of the Wake from 2004. You know, you've got the contraction from You've.
Yeah, I almost put that one on there too.
Yeah. Then we've got Holy Wars ... The Punishment Due by Megadeth off of Rust in Peace from 1990. Then we have X's and O's by Atreyu from A Death Grip on Yesterday from 2006. A couple of possessive apostrophes in there. Then last but not least, You've Got Another Thing Coming by Judas Priest from Screaming for Vengeance from 1982. So that was my top 10. So
nice.
Yeah. So
you have any extras?
I decided to just stop at 10 just to go. I was pretty comfortable with those first 10, and like I say, it was relatively easy, so I just stopped at 10. And I figure if there are any other ones, there was actually another one that I've got in my head that I didn't write down. I had I'm with Stupid from Static X off of Wisconsin Death Trip from 1999. So technically that's my 11th one.
Okay.
So yeah, between you and I, we'll get our contributions put together, and we'll get them rearranged and put onto Spotify for everybody. So everybody in the Facebook group will be able to listen to that. So
everybody in the fascist book, as Dan likes to say.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check out our playlists, you'll have to come on over to the Facebook group and become a member over there. The icon above Jason's head in the upper right hand part of the screen there is the icon you'll be looking for. That's our thumbnail. That one right there. That's our thumbnail for the Facebook group. So
okay, well, I got that the first time that time.
Yeah. Like I said, you're getting good at pointing. So yeah. So that's so that'll be this week's topic, and we don't know next week's topic yet, so we haven't come up with that one yet. So you want to see what next week's playlist will consist of? You'll have to come and join us live to check that out. And that would be such a shame if you came back and joined us live next week. I mean, that would suck.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That would just be too bad.
All right, so I guess that will lead us into our album review segment this week.
Yes,
things are rolling kind of fast with not having the moments in history stuff not there. That's to be. Of course, we didn't rant too much this week, I guess. But
no, we didn't. We didn't actually.
Because there wasn't anything about the Hall of Fame or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast the show goes when you don't have to piss and moan about the Grammys or the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, man. It actually almost fits in 2 hours. So
Almost.
Yeah, anyway. My album review this week was from a band called Cage Fight, which was their debut album, and by the same name, Cage Fight, which is kind of the norm for most debut albums. They usually just go with the band name as their debut, which, unless you're Lamb of God or
Right.
and you wait 10 albums in or something. But
Yep.
which something funny you said earlier. You was talking about Pantera's eighth album with Great Southern Trinco, which
Hmm.
most of us know as what the fifth one,
Right.
instead of the eighth one. So
Hmm.
so it's kind of funny when you said eighth. I was like, oh wow, actually it was the eighth one. Like I said, I even forget sometimes because you just try to you just wasn't that the first three just weren't that popular. So
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
anyway,
It was Pantera 2.0.
yeah, there you go. But yeah, yeah, like I said, my album review was from Cage Fight. They are a vicious hardcore thrash crossover band from the UK, based out of London. The current members are Rachel Aspey for the vocals, James Monteth guitar, John Reed bass, MC, and Nick Palouse on drums. Um, like I said, this is the band's debut album. Um, didn't even get a time frame on that. I apologize. Look at it real quick. I knew I was forgetting something. Be easy to do since that's the only one they have. So. It was 14 songs, 43 minutes, 24 seconds. It does have a intro in the beginning, which was actually it was a intro. It wasn't a musical lead in or anything like that. It was an actual intro. So,
Mhm.
but like I said, we kind of like frown upon that getting counted as a track. But what are we gonna do?
Mhm.
Then there was like I'll talk about the other one here in a minute, but like I said, this was the band's debut album, and all I can say is, if you're gonna do a debut album, this is the way you do it. I mean, you just you come out. It was in your face the whole record, and it was amazing because it walked a thin line on every genre of metal, which was kind of crazy to me because the more I listened to it, the more I heard like some metalcore, and then it got kind of got melodic, and then it got thrash, and then it got and I even heard, oh man, that's kind of death metalish, So I mean, it was like it like really walked on a line of everything. So which was kind of wow. I don't know if I've ever heard an album do that, but so very very unique in that sense. I do think this band is on its way. If they put out two follow ups like this one, they'll be headlining tours and festivals, real fast. So yeah, the only thing that I could say negative about, there was a song in there called "Cage Fight," which I felt like should have just been part of the intro. They kind of could have did the intro and then shoved that in behind that and just made it all one. Then I probably wouldn't have been so negative about the intro. So, because if you'd have took that minute and made a 2.5 minute intro, then it kind of makes more sense. But
Could have made it a track unto itself.
right. But it was kind of smack in the middle, so it was kind of I get it though because the intro was kind of not really musical. This one was kind of a almost like a rapper introducing the band kind of thing. So
Yeah.
so it was a bit different, but I still think it could have been combined into one. But I do love the diversity of the vocals on this album and the instrument playing as far as that goes. I mean, it was very, like I said, touching on every genre of metal like that. You had to be kind of diverse. So,
Mhm.
not you didn't hear one song that sounded like any of the others on there, which is always a plus when you're listening to a record. So. You don't want to be listening to something and going, hey, it started over already? Like, damn, I didn't.
Right.
Because it kind of just sounds like the same thing's been going on. But definitely didn't have that here. So that's kind of what you aim for in the record. So, overall, I'm going to give this one 4 horns. Definitely enjoyed it. I think everybody should check that one out. Check it out. So,
Nice. I actually did listen to that one yesterday.
Did you?
After you had told me about it, I was after I got off work last night, I was running around town doing my second job, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to listen to more of this stuff, because I got through mine on my way up to work, on my way into my, my day job. And then while I was after work, while I was doing my second job, I was like, I'm going to finish the album. And then, I finished the album that I was going to review, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then I started listening to, I was like, all right, I need to listen to more stuff. I'm only getting like one album a week and I gotta listen to more shit. Mm-hmm. So I listened to the new Cage Fight, which I'm going to have to go back and listen to it, because I was driving around town. I was paying attention to what other stuff I was doing. And I listened to it all the way through, but I didn't pay attention to when the album ended and to when, Spotify picked up and started, because when you listen to an album on Spotify, right, once you listen to the album in its entirety, it'll be like, okay, so you liked this, so this is the kind of music you're wanting to listen to right now. Yeah. So it picks up and takes off and starts playing other music by other bands, which I like, but I missed that transition from when the Cage Fight album ended into where the other music picked up. So because I was busy driving and I was paying attention to my job, I missed the end. So I want to go back and I want to listen to the back half of the album and catch the end. What I was able to focus on, I did like. I'm like you, I could have done without the intro. The way that it was presented. And I will echo your sentiment about the title track. I totally agree on that. Everything that I was able to focus on and pay attention to, I did like, for the exact same reasons you mentioned, but I want to go back and hell, I'll even start the whole album over, because from what I could tell, it was a quick listen. So I do want to go back and listen to it in its entirety to where I can focus on it. So on my commute on Monday, I may do that, because I can focus on the way up and on the way back. So that's my plan with that one, but I did listen to it. The other album that I listened to it wasn't a new album, but I did listen to Sepsis's album from 2020. I'm not gonna say why I listened to it, but I also did listen. I also did listen to the new single, Yesterday Wasn't Me. Very, very interesting band, Sepsis, because I hadn't heard of anything by them until this week. Somebody posted something in the Facebook group about their new single, so I did listen to it. Very, very interesting band. Very diverse musically. They really don't play one style of music.
Yeah, so they have a unique style, I think. So,
they have a very unique style.
So I think that's what's making them stand out more.
I think so.
Their unique style, but like I said, there's like some songs though that they do this, and I don't know why. Like, it may be just me, but like She's Fine, and then like there's a backup vocal that comes in. I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't, for some reason, I just don't care for that part. But
yeah, I don't.
But other than that, I mean, it's great. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the names of the band members, because, like I said, this wasn't my formal review. And obviously, like I say, the LP that I listened to, album, the LP that I listened to was from 2020. So, but I did want to, after listening to the new single, I wanted to listen to more, because I was kind of like you. I don't know the name. Like I say, I don't know the name of the female vocalist, but she's got a great voice. And the male vocalist who comes in, he's got a great voice, but his I
think it's the tone. I think it's the tone.
Yeah, there's something a little, I'll just say it right offhand, there's something a little off-putting about his screaming style, and it may be the tone that he uses. I think you may be right. I think it may be more of the tone that he uses, because I'm not averse to a screaming vocal style. Randy Blythe does it. I mean, there's a shitload of vocalists that do it, but I think it may have been his tone. So I think you may have.
The good thing about them though, they're a young band, so they're going to figure out some different things along the way. So
so they will develop
what works for them and what doesn't. So, but I think they're in a really good spot to kind of blossom right now. So
yeah, I think one thing that I would like to see them do, if they're going to do a male female vocalist, I think what they need to do is, I think they need to have the two separate. Because another thing I didn't really care for with them is like when the male vocalist would sing in unison with the female vocalist.
That's the part that I was talking about. Yeah,
right. When they were singing in unison, I didn't really care for it as much. But when they took turns alternating, even when the male vocalist was doing his screaming style, alternating works. In unison, I didn't really care for it as much because
like we say, this is our personal opinions. So
right. So yeah. So I mean, opinions are like assholes, but
right.
so we're just speaking from our personal experiences. And like I say, yesterday was like the first time I heard anything by them. And the funny thing is the male vocalist, he can sing. He can sing.
Oh yeah.
He's got a good voice. When he sings clean, in behind the female vocalist is when he does the bulk of his clean singing. But like I'm saying, when he does it in unison, I don't really care for just the setup of it. If she was to sing and he was to sing, when they will alternate and go back and forth, that setup usually works pretty well. Even whether he sings clean or whether he sings clean or not, I prefer the alternating. Because it kind of go ahead.
That could be why they do that too. Because
could be
just like you said, it's like most other bands do the back and forth. So that maybe why they're doing the in unison type stuff you don't really see. I mean, you do get that sometimes with like choruses because you think a skillet,
sure
the drummer kind of kicks in sometimes and sings with John on some of the songs there in the choruses.
Well, and of course, I mean there are exceptions to everything. Naturally, for every example that you give, they're like, I didn't care for it. It works in some other bands. So you're right. I'm not trying to come off as not trying to come off.
It wasn't the fact that I hated it though. I didn't hate it.
Right.
I mean, it was just kind of. I guess it was just weird. I guess I could say more than anything. It's kind of odd, but.
And like I say, it was my first time hearing them, so it may grow on me. It may grow
right.
on me.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like you hear things for the first time, like but then later on you kind of like, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it may grow on me, and like you say, that was their first LP. So I mean, as their career progresses, they may it may get a little cleaner. It may the production may get better, or they'll probably their style will kind of grow and change a little bit. So, but yeah, definitely didn't hate it. It was just different for sure. It was different.
It'll grow on, it may grow on you eventually like Nickelback.
Mm-hmm. No. And if anybody in Sepsis is listening right now, you can feel free to flip off Jason's half of the screen for calling you guys Nickelback. So
I did not say they were Nickelback. I was just saying things grow on you like Nickelback.
All right, well for lumping you guys in there.
Yeah. But they're not.
Nah, but he just jokes. He's just kidding.
Yeah. The thing was like you think about people when they talk about Nickelback like 10 years ago, like, man, fuck that band or whatever. Then you're like, they're all right.
Yeah. Right.
And then I actually had somebody like do that a while back. They were talking about was it Nickelback? It may have been Nickelback. They were talking about. It was a friend of mine, and he actually said that we were talking about. He's like, man, they're all right. I'm like, 10 years ago you were saying, fuck that band.
Yeah.
So now they're all right. Maybe it's his age. Maybe he's starting to get.
He's getting a little soft in his older age. And then the other album I listened to last night, Loudwire. Neither Loudwire or the PRP had this album on their new release chart. But I was going through and I was putting together my notes for the This Week in Metal History, and I actually saw this over at This Day in Metal. So Metalhead Marv actually had it. It was a band I've never heard of this band before. The name of the band is either Helios or Helios. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure where they're from, or I have done no background check on this band at all. But their new album Touch the Sun came out yesterday, and I listened to it last night, and I was actually pretty impressed. Their they're kind of a cross between like a thrash and power metal. I don't know how long they've been, like I said, I don't know how long they've been around, what album of theirs this is, who the singer is, or anything. I literally listened to it going in completely blind. It's the only thing I know about it is it's 10 songs and it's a little under 48 minutes long. It's a really, really quick listen. There are a couple of power ballady songs on there, but I think they're really well done. So I was pleasantly surprised. If I was gonna rate it, I would give it 4 horns out of 5. But this wasn't my formal review. Like I say, here's like if you want to see what the album, there's what the album cover looks like. If you want to listen to it, Jason. So I mean,
all right, cool.
Yeah, so, but yeah. So again, literally, I was yesterday years old when I heard of this band. But like I said, I listened to it completely blind, but I was pleasantly surprised by it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of background check on them and see what else they got. The formal review that I did do, I did the new album Pirates by Visions of Atlantis. I've actually heard of this band before. Haven't heard a lot of their stuff, but I've heard of them before. They are a melodic symphonic power metal band. They were formed in Bruck an der Mur in Austria in 2000. I hope I said that city name right. Their lyrical themes include nautical tales, mythology, self-discovery, and love. You've got Thomas Kaser on drums, Clementine Delaney on vocals, Herbert Gloss on bass, Christian Duche on guitar, and Michel Guaitoli on vocals, the male version. So this is another one of those male and female. Michel, yeah. It's another one of those. I'm
just white.
Right. Male and female vocal duos going on. They've got the same thing we were talking about earlier, which I didn't plan on talking about. Like I say, I wasn't planning on listening to the Sepsis album yesterday. It just happened.
It kind of fits with it because I mean, Cage Fight's a female fronted band too. So and actually at points that band kind of reminded me of an Arch Enemy or Ginger. Because she kind of goes in between cleans and gutturals. So,
she does, yeah.
So it's
yeah. So Visions of Atlantis, like they've been together for a while. This was their This was their 8th full-length studio album. Their debut album, Eternal Endless Infinity, came out in 2002. Castaway in 2004, Trinity in 2007, Delta in 2011, Ethera in 2013, The Deep and Dark in 2018, Wanderers in 2019, and Pirates yesterday. Pirates is 12 tracks in length, and depending on who you ask, it's either 58 minutes on the nose or Spotify has it at 58 minutes and 6 seconds. But so it's approximately 58 minutes in length. So it's a little bit of a longer album. Track 1, Pirates Will Return, was 6 minutes and 7 seconds long. Track 2, Melancholy Angel, at 3:55. Track 3, Master the Hurricane, at 7:18. Track 4, Clocks, at 3:55. Track 5, Freedom, at 4:01. Track 6, Legion of the Seas, at 4:35. Track 7, Wind Elysium, at 4:15. Track 8, Darkness Inside, at 4:30. Track 9, In My World, at 5:25. Track 10, Mercy, at 4:27. Track 11, Heal the Scars, at 3:55. And track 12, I Will Be Gone, at 5:37.
You'll be gone at 5:37?
Yeah. Yeah. So wait for it. I'll be gone then. So this album was, it's basically in the same vein as like Epica, Sirenia. Who else am I thinking of? Nightwish. The only difference kind of between this band and those other ones is you've got the male vocalist, Michel. He sings completely clean, just like Clementine does all the way through. Some of those other bands, like even like Lacuna Coil, and Andrea Ferro and Lacuna Coil, earlier in their career, he sang a lot cleaner than he does now. He's gotten a little more. Andrea Ferro's gotten a little more guttural as Lacuna Coil's career has gone on. But in the case of like Nightwish, you've got Marco Hietala and Thomas Holopainen. when they contribute their vocals, it's a lot more of the guttural style. Well, Michel, he contributes his vocals completely clean all across the board. So a little bit different there, gives it a little bit different of a sound. Another difference between Visions of Atlantis and the other groups is their symphonic accompaniment is a little more dominant. So, which I really didn't care for as much. I would have obviously liked the metal aspect to be a little more present than the symphonic part. You know, I have no problem with symphonic accompaniment and the melodic sound. It's actually, you know, one of the subgenres I do like, but there were times where the symphonic part kind of took over. So I didn't really care, you know, for that as much. I like a little bit more of a balance. If anything, if it's going to lean one way or the other, I would like obviously the guitars and the drums to be a little more dominant than the symphonic part. I'd like the symphonic part to be more complementary. So this album was a little more symphonic than I would have liked. I think it kind of detracted from the musicianship, as you would, you know, if you would, from the actual guys in the band. So that was kind of a little bit of a bummer. And the other thing, the album got a lot more ballady than I would have cared for as it went on. So it was heavier at the beginning than it was at the end. So, you know, didn't really care for that either. Overall, the album was good. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. You know, so I liked more of it than I didn't. So I am going to give it 3 out of 5. So, but you know, both vocalists sing really well. Clementine's got a hell of a voice. Even Michel, you know, for a male vocalist, he's got a hell of a set of pipes on it. I just wish I could have heard the other guys in the band actually play a little more. They got drowned out at times, which is kind of disappointing for them. So, but yeah, overall, I'll give it 3 out of 5.
I did listen to a second album as well. I listened to the Misery Index, Complete Control. I listened to that album.
Oh, okay.
So just a little background here. Misery Index, their music's best described as death metal with a strong hardcore punk and grindcore influence. Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
That's a lot of stuff packed in there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't argue with that because I'm not really big on like hardcore punk or grindcore. So
yeah,
you know, I didn't hear a lot of that in there myself. But like I said, I'm not the expert on those genres. So the current members of Misery Index are Jason Netherton, lead vocalist and bass, Adam Jarvis on drums, Mark Klopel, rhythm guitar and vocals, and then Darren Morris on lead guitar. I think this is their 8th album, if I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is their 8th album, or wait a minute, 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th album. This is their 7th album, so they've been around a little bit. I think they were formed in 2002. I think that's yeah, 2002. So they've been around a little bit. This album was 9 songs, 33 minutes, 50 seconds. So not a long listen if you want to check it out. I actually, there was a song in here that it came on, and I thought that it did one of those things with Spotify, like you was talking about earlier, where. And this is crazy. Like, I thought it went off and went into Eyes of the Living. I swear to God, I was just like, "Why?" I said, "Well, why? How did it go into Eyes of the Living from this?" And I got to look and say, "Oh no, it's still on the album." I said, "Oh, that's kind of crazy." So that tells you kind of what they sound like. So I did actually like this one as well. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Definitely something I wouldn't snarl at. I'll definitely probably check, put it in the rotation there. So
nice.
So yeah, so a lot of good albums came out this week and what's so crazy is like there was not a lot of big names on the list this week either. So
not really, not the typical.
So to have a lot of those albums stand out like that's pretty wild. So
yeah, which is nice.
I mean, I'll say right now, Cage Fight would be in my top 10 if we did one a day. So
nice. Very nice.
I still think that not to play favorites or anything, but Hours of the Living was still being definitely in my top 5, maybe even 3. So
Yeah, deservedly so.
Yeah. So
All right,
we'll see. Like I said, we still got Megadeth and Creator, and
we do
all
have
these other bands.
we do have some heavy hitters
coming out. So
we've got some heavy hitters coming up. We really do. All right, so looking forward to this coming Friday, May 20th. Leading off, this is at Loudwire. Leading off, we have Anvil with Impact is Imminent. We have Blut aus Nord with Disharmonium dash Undreamable Abysses. So sounds like it'll be cheerful. We have Brandy and the Butcher with Lucky Foot. We have Cave In with Heavy Pendulum. We have Evergrey with A Heartless Portrait, The Orphean Testament. We have Granabard with Regard le Homme Sucer. I think that's French. I'm hoping I did that language a little bit of justice. We have Hellsot with Will and the Witch. We have James Labrie. Yes, that James Labrie with Beautiful Shade of Gray. We have The Loyal Seas with Strange Mornings in the Garden. We have Malevolence with Malicious Intent. Sadist with Fire Scorched. Septic Flesh with Modern Primitive. Space of Variations with Imago or Imago. We have Thy Kingdom Will Burn with The Void and the Vengeance. We have Watashi Wa with People Like People. Then we have Zinizan with Lullabies for the Masses. So we have Watashi Wa and Zinizan.
No, yeah.
Sweet. So those are the new releases according to Loudwire for May 20th. The PRP, they update their list during the week. So the PRP will probably have some other releases on theirs that Loudwire won't have. So unfortunately, I don't have that list available for me on Saturdays. Like I say, they kind of update their list, Tuesday,
Right.
Wednesday, and put that out, which I wish they would do it a little sooner. But because if they did, because like right now, I can go over to their website and I can refresh the site, and it just says for the week of 5/13. So they have the current list. So
Was that Helios? Was that with 2 S's? Or
it's Helios.
okay. And what'd you say the album name was?
Hang on one second, I'll tell you. It was Touch the Sun, which I recommend you don't do, but that's just me.
Right.
It's a little on the warm side.
Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, they got the S backwards. That's like a backwards
it's like
Z or something.
like a
yeah,
Z?
Okay. What's a backwards one?
Backwards Z, yeah.
Okay, cool. I got that pulled up, so I'll check that out at some point today. So
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that one. Maybe because I had like zero expectations. I was like, I have no idea.
Right, yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
I
like
have
I
no
said,
idea what this is supposed to sound like at all.
Like I was really surprised because I walk into both of the albums not knowing anything about either one of those bands, and just
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, and digging both of them was pretty
Which
odd. Which is good, but it was odd. But,
Yeah, which is what I try to do every week. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
when you and I touch base, we're like, what album are you doing? Is like, I'll pick out an album and I'll listen to the album first and then I'll do the background info. Cause I don't want to read anything about them. I don't want to look I don't
Right.
want to look them up on Encyclopedia Metallum and then like see what their lyrical themes are or what their, what style of music they play. Cause then that creates preconceived notions. And I don't want any of that shit. I want to go in,
Right.
like I did with that Helios album. I want to go in as blind as I possibly can. That way I can be as subjective as I possibly can. So that's what I shoot for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 'cause, if you go in and listen, like we're going to listen to Megadeth, we're going to listen to Creator, we're going to listen to those bands, but
Right.
but we always try to push out, something newer and
Right.
something less known, because that's what it's kind of like what we created this platform for,
Mm-hmm.
was to try to help push some of the lesser known bands out there.
Yeah.
That they could help push this lesser known podcast out there.
Right. It's definitely a quid pro quo. That's what we're trying to go for here.
So, at some point, it'd be cool to the thing is like, even if we did wind up being like we're Testament and Exodus and bands like that. We wind up talking to bands like that. Cool, but I still want to be stick to what we what we set out to do, which
Yeah,
was,
of course.
promote the up and coming bands. So
Yeah.
'cause like I said, the bands we've talked to so far are bands that I happen to listen to at these festivals that were on the smaller stages. So to get that was my whole thing was, man, those guys are good. They need to be on that stage. That's kind of the way I felt about most of the bands that we've interviewed so far. So
yeah, kind of like looking
besides the Defaced, of course, but
right.
They're
yeah. Kind of like looking like getting like a glimpse into the potential future of the genre.
Yeah, and if it's any sense, if there's any way that we can help promote these guys, and I'm all for doing that. So,
absolutely.
So like I said, I want to be in the called up by Alyssa Glues White, going, man, you guys actually pushed up the next one, so
yeah,
that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, I think there's a lot of bands out there with like I said, we just talked about a couple, Cage Fight and Sepsis, and a couple of younger bands that Tetrarch's in that category as well. They're younger band that are they got that media push that could get them. The thing about Sepsis that I do like is they're doing their own thing without all of the media. Being behind them and the album and the record labels and stuff being behind them. So they're doing their own thing, which is kind of cool. If you can get to where, to me, they're already probably more popular than a lot of bands that are doing that. So, so they're doing something right. So.
Yeah, and as well as I do that, like, none of those bands are getting any fucking mainstream radio play.
Oh, well, hell no. I mean, because there's not a lot of mainstream metal shows. So
right.
Our radio stations.
Stations, yeah. So that and that's
unless you have a Sirius XM,
right.
And then I don't, so I don't really know what they play on there. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have Sirius XM, we have those radio stations like on our satellite dish,
right?
But I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I sat at home and had one of the music channels playing at the house. I mean, so I have it available, but I don't. It wasn't what I got DirecTV for. It wasn't what I got it for. It just came with it, but I don't have it in my car, so, man, I'm listening to Spotify. I'm normally in the car, I'm listening to one of our playlists that we put together, or I'm doing homework for the next show. So, I mean,
it's definitely a part-time job we're not getting paid for. So.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully the next step in the evolution of this show ends up being the offshoot video show. That way it'll help us expand. It'll help us get out there. And at the same time, when these bands come out with their music videos, we can get those out there too.
Yeah.
So, because we post, you and I and like the members of the Facebook group, when a new music video comes out, we put that out there. Like I put the new lyric video out for the new Five Finger Death Punch yesterday, and we've got a couple of members who will contribute stuff, which we greatly appreciate. We so appreciate the members who contribute stuff to the Facebook group. But when a new single comes out, you or I will put it out there, or Susie, she'll put it out there. But we only have 360 some odd people that we're reaching right now. So, I mean, any exposure for those bands is good exposure, but I mean, we'd like to get, instead of 300, we'd like to get 300,000 or 300 million or, something. We'd like to get these people's music out there to we would literally like to be, a source, of metal for the masses. We would love to be able to do that.
Which is why we're doing this, is because we reach more people this way than we do on Facebook. So, we reach 6-digit people,
right?
Six-digit listens a week, on here. So that's a pretty good crowd to introduce yourself to. So,
right. But yeah, I mean, ideally, we obviously we would like to have another show and be able to get everybody's
Oh, yeah.
content out there. So yeah, I mean, we do have, we do have a vision for this going forward. So it's just taking a little longer to get there than we thought. So
Yeah. Well, like I said,
But-
we put time into our regular jobs too.
yeah,
So
so
it's kind of a
yeah, so
kind of a
the
we're time constrained.
yeah, we are.
right now.
We are. Yeah, we are. But we are working on it, rest assured.
All right. Well, I guess I will. We can wrap this bad boy up for this week. And
Hmm.
thanks everyone for stopping in with us. Sorry for the kind of a delayed start there.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out fine.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I'm not one to dwell on when shit happens. It happens.
Right. Yeah.
Luckily, I'm one of the go with the flow kind of people and not the freak out anxiety type. So,
Right.
so, I'll always be thankful for that. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
because my wife is kind of the opposite. So,
Yeah.
she's 30 minutes from work and going, "Oh, we're not going to make it. Oh my God!" I'm like, "We're going to make it. Chill. We're fine."
Yeah. You guys. I would say you guys are. I'd say you guys are yin and yang for sure.
So, but I think that's what makes things work. Because I mean, you
Sure.
and your wife are kind of the same. So
Yeah, we kind of are.
definitely yin and yang. So
Yeah.
so I think that's what makes it work. So
Oh yeah.
you want to find stuff in common, but not like everything. I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So like I said, with that, we'll wrap this bad boy up. And
Mhm.
like I said, thank you guys for stopping in with us. Reach out to us on our Facebook page, Metal Heads Unite Facebook page. It actually has the icon.
Oh, you missed it that time.
Yeah. It's like, well, maybe it's because I wasn't sitting back. Maybe it's no. Yeah, I'll get the Vanna White stuff down eventually.
Yeah. There it is.
Then of
But
course,
yeah, check us out over there at the Facebook group. We've got VOPUSARadio.com. We got the mothership website. We got the VOP USA Radio app. You can download and take with you anywhere. We've also got Metalhead Unite USA at gmail.com. That it's kind of like a ghost town over there. There's
well,
but
it's not about to be probably. So
that is very true. That's true. So that's good news. But that's
so-
available
so
for you guys.
If everybody wants to know what the VOP USA Radio app
Yep.
looks like, that's what it looks like there. So
Mhm.
and we are playing on it live right now. So
Yep. And you can for about a month now, you guys can find us on YouTube also. So we do simulcast to YouTube now. So we are over there. So yeah, there are plenty of ways, like I say, for you guys to find us.
all right. Well, with that being said, we will wrap this bad boy up, and we will see you back here next week, hopefully. And until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Thank you guys.